Welcome to Tools in the Hall Live. This is my regular Sunday spot where I would air a new video, but I thought that it might be fun to do a live spot with a tool haul video. So that's what we're going to do today. Jump in the chat, get on board and comment and let me know what you think of the stuff I'm showing you. Let me know if you think it's terrible. I'm sure you will. It's YouTube. Got to be ready for anything here. Are we going to be interrupted today? Absolutely. Dogs will bark. We'll probably get a UPS delivery and they'll go crazy at the door. The cats will probably jump up and wander around because it's going to be raw. It's just tools. Raw tools. Tools and raw. All right. So if you want to jump in, say hi in the chat. Let me know how you're doing. We'll keep it casual as we go through all these tools. The cool thing about this particular haul is over the last, I want to say 6 to 8 months, business has been very good. And when business is good, that means customers are ordering a lot of stuff. And when they do, that means that my budget for tools gets spent mostly on tools that people special order. And that leaves me little room in my budget to restock the truck. So it's been pretty bare on the tool truck lately. As a result, I get ridiculed a lot for having a truck that looks like it's going out of business or doesn't have anything on it. The shelves are pretty bare. But the good thing is, for the last week or so, sales have been kind of slow. We're going into the summertime. People are taking vacation. Not a lot of folks around. So it has given me an opportunity to take the budget that I would normally spend on special order stuff and put that toward restocking the shelves. So I now have an opportunity to make a truck look a little fuller. So that's what we're doing. And we're going to go through all the stuff that's going back on the shelves, filling some stuff out. We haven't had a chance to stock up on, seats and creepers and torque wrenches and little items, little organizational items that people find helpful for toolbox organization and stuff like that. So let's start going through it. If you've got questions or you want to jump in a chat and you want to say things and stuff, jump in. There's a free-for-all here. And I'm going to be going back and forth between stuff on my computer on the chat that I see. I'm going to be responding to things, both typing and conversationally, as well as showing you stuff. So it'll be kind of handling a little bit of everything here. Bear with me as we do that. And let's have some fun. It'll be a good time. I don't know, in no particular order, let's start going through stuff. Diabolical 58's on board in the chat. Good morning. Nice to see you. Saren left a comment. Loving the content. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. So as we go through all this stuff, just now bear with me. Jump in the chat. Let's have some fun with it. First up, I'm restocking paint pens. And we source these from Uline. They're a commercial and industrial supplier for a lot of things. The cool thing about them is that they cater to other businesses. I mean, you can buy from them as a consumer, but they do business to business stuff because you get bulk pricing on stuff. So I get the yellow and the white paint pens from these guys. Restock on those. I've also restocking on solder. I carry. I like to keep rolls of rosin core tin lead rosin core solder. And I stock up on these guys because the nice thing about... Good morning, Chris Thompson. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. The nice thing about doing things the way I do them is I try to keep smaller items handy that you may not think about if you're on another tool truck. And I've had a lot of guys tell me a lot of tool trucks don't carry rolls of solder or they don't have paint pens or some other stuff. So anything that I can do to keep people interested in coming on the truck, shopping around, looking to see what I've got, maybe get some impulse purchases out of things like the paint pens and the solder, pocket pry bars. We're restocking on those. These are the ones that have the curved tip. So these are a little bit different than the pocket screwdrivers. Chris likes the 40-point markers better than the others. I'm not sure what those are, Chris. I'm not familiar with them. There's a lot of different paint markers that you can get. I know is it Milwaukee that makes some? Yeah, Milwaukee. Sharpie makes them too, but every time I look for them, they're out of stock. So Uline's been rock solid and reliable in their inventory, so they're the ones I've been getting because I can't find any of the others reliably. And as far as little items go that you may not find on other trucks, I also try to keep batteries on the trucks. AA, AAA, all the button batteries like the LR44s and I think they're 2036s, the little ones for tire inflators and things like that. I try to keep those on board all the time because they're the kinds of things that a lot of other people don't carry. I got this broken jet lever hoist. This is a quarter-ton model with a 10-foot chain. And the customer broke the bracket right there on the base of the hook assembly. The hook is supposed to swivel around that, but you can see where it broke there. I don't know how I broke it. This particular customer breaks everything, I think. I don't think a week goes by that he's not giving me a broken tool. I do sell Jet, but not normally. I've only sold a couple of their items in the past, but I pride myself on my service levels. And he asked if I could help him out with it, and I don't know where to begin with that. So I start with my distributor, and he says, "No, I got to go through Jet." So I go to the Jet, and then I talk to Jet about it, and I tell him I'm the retailer calling on my customer's behalf. And what can they do? And sure enough, these things are covered under warranty, and they sent me a new hook assembly. Easy enough. You can see the part that was broken was the part down here where it swivels around the base of the hook. So Jet very quickly sent this out. Thank you very much for helping me help a customer. Love that. More of these Coast XP series lights. This is the XP18R. This is their biggest, brightest flashlight, 3650 lumens on their turbo mode on this one. Love the lights. And I love the fact that they have a lifetime warranty. I like the fact that they have 2 patents. One's for a focusing beam, so you slide that barrel in and out, and it goes from spot to a flood. And they also have dual power. So they come with rechargeable cells. They also come with alkaline batteries and or battery holders. So you can replace the rechargeables if you're away from your charger with an alkaline battery. And their pricing is less than the comparable Streamlight models. I love Streamlight. I'm not going to say anything bad about them because they're another brand that we carry. But when it comes to comparing side by side where the value is, most guys go with Coast. If they want Streamlight, no problem. We'll get them. But the Coast is the ones that I keep on the truck. I've done other videos on them in the past. You can go back and look at them if you want to. Chris, how's this? What's up, buddy? Good to see you. Yeah, Diabolical. Those are beautiful lights. They have a range of sizes from like the really small flashlights that put out 1,000 lumens to that one that puts out over 3,600 lumens and all sizes in between. I love their headlamps because they have the same features as their regular lights. And they also have these little magnetic end caps, which are really cool for removing the light from their swivel base. And you can stick them to something, use them as a small drop light. Or a tip that I picked up from Garrett Ceasing from Scooter 911 was, if you're working on something and you take a screw out or you take a bit out, you can just stick it right to the magnet and continue working by freeing up your hands and then grabbing that off your light and using it again. I thought that was a fabulous idea. I had never heard anyone with that idea before, so I pass that along as often as I can. Aaron Dom says, do I warranty a lot of rechargeable Coast pen lights? The guys that I work with in the shop used to get them warranted all the time. They have switched to Streamlight now. I don't think I've warrantied more than I have the Streamlight Pen Lights. I think I've seen probably equal on those. Usually what goes out of them is the switch in the end cap, and that's easy to replace. So I can do that on a warranty. And I can't say I've seen one brand break more than the other on that. But they're both easily repairable on the truck if that's the problem. The other upside to the Coast is if someone gives me a broken Streamlight, to get it repaired, if I can't just do it on the truck, I have to send it into Streamlight. And they'll do it for free. But two things. A, it takes longer because I have to send it to them. They have to put it in their work order system and send it back. So it can take a number of weeks, and it costs me to ship it. If I do Coast, I can just give you a new one on the truck. So I can swap them out faster, get a working light back in my customer's hands quicker, and I don't have to pay for shipping. So I'm winning. The customers are getting stuff back faster. Yeah. And it's usually the switches on those, Aaron. That's the biggest failure I've seen on any of those. Even the Stryons and the Stingers are the same way, but the switch caps can be swapped out. So if I can do it on the truck, it's equal in my mind with getting it back to the customer as quickly as possible. But I can't say I've seen a higher failure rate from one over the other. Yeah, you love Coast lights, just a parts guy. Don't use them like they do. That's true. I think things like knives, lights, and pocket screwdrivers or pry bars are absolutely indispensable tools for anybody in the shop. And they are, I don't know, how do you get along without a light? You don't. I mean, everyone needs them. The service writers need them. Everyone needs them. You got to go out and do a quick inspection, or you're going to be working for a prolonged period of time, either under the car, in a wheel well, under the hood. You have to have lights. And that's why companies make so many of them. I like the fact that I can offer a lot of brand choice on those. I'm happy to sell Streamlights just as much as Coast. Maxion makes those good hockey puck lights. I've got some of those on order and coming in. I don't have them in today's haul, but they make some really good work lights too. A lot of options, and everyone's going to have some preference. So if you don't like one brand, you'll like another. If you don't like Coast, you'll like Streamlight. If you don't like that, you'll like Maxion. Whatever it is, they're fairly easy to accommodate. Jay Wilker says that shirt's the only time I believe in gun confiscation. Oh. My shirt. This has been a very controversial shirt. The guys seem to like the design, but they won't buy it because they don't want their wives and girlfriends and daughters to see them. I understand. I completely overestimated the shirt. And Chris Thompson says shop lights go through a lot of abuse. Yeah, they do. God, they get dropped, beat up, they fall in coolant and oil, and man, I mean, lights are probably the most used, most abused tool in a shop. I would guess. Coast does make a light that is sealed. They call it their poly steel light. It's sealed, so it's waterproof, and because it has a steel body and they put a polymer coating over that, thus poly steel, they guarantee it as being crush proof. And I happen to have a customer who works in a transit bus facility who ran one over with a bus. I crushed the snot out of this thing. This thing was beat up. But he brought it to me. He says, "You think they'll cover it?" I'm like, it says on the box, lifetime warranty, crush proof. So we sent it to Coast to see, and sure enough, they did. As they sent it back, they just left it. They gave us a note and they said, "We're curious to know when these things crush, just what happens, so they understand where their effectiveness, I guess, ends." And I told them, 30,000-pound bus drove over, and they're like, "Good enough." But we got the free light. They had no problems fulfilling that warranty at all. Chef Shade Tree, how's it going? And Cass from Speed Wrench, great to see you guys. Thanks for joining. I love it. This is I didn't know what to think doing this live on a Sunday morning, but hey, we'll we'll kick it around and see if it works. And Aaron Dom says, I have a Maxion I bought from the Cornwall guy. It's a great light. He has a 750 lumen Braun light from Harbor Freight that's similar to the Maxion. Great light for the money. You can get such good deals at Harbor Freight. You can get good deals on Amazon. You have to be careful what you're buying and who you're buying it from. But as long as you go in with the right set of expectations as to quality for the money and also service after the sale, then you're fine. And that is the big drivers in how people are going to make their purchases, right? What do you get for your money? Quality, service, fulfillment of warranty, repair, whatever it is. Factor all that stuff in when you make a purchasing decision, especially when you make a decision who you're buying stuff from. That's really important. And I was going to do probably a vlog on a couple of topics that have been pretty hot lately. One of them is stuff that's made in the US, and another is stuff that's bought off of Amazon. And I think there's some really good topics there because there's a lot of things to consider. There's a ton of subtleties to these topics that a lot of folks don't really think about. And I think it'd be a really good discussion to have. Maybe we'll even do a live session on that to get people to weigh in. Now that I think about it, I think we're going to do that in the future, not too distant future. We'll do some live vlogs, I guess. Instead of me just yapping at you, I think it'd be a good idea to have some give and take. Maybe we'll have a panel with some guys that join me on the video, and we'll bat it back and forth with you in the chat, and we'll do that. I think that'd be a ton of fun. And Jamie White says, funny story. The number one reason I use a Streamlight is how it fits in my back pocket. That's, hey, it's real. Ergonomics are really important, and how things fit in a pocket, how they feel in your hand, how they fit in a workspace that you've got. These are all things you got to weigh when you decide on a purchase, because God knows this stuff isn't cheap. Even the Coast lights, even though they might run less than Streamlights, are still expensive. All this stuff is. I mean, this is tool trucks we're talking about, and you got to make sure that the stuff you buy is the right thing for you. All right, let's keep going. We got some organizational trays. This is from a company called Ernst, E-R-N-S-T. Ernst makes wrench holders, socket holders, plastic trays. They make a ton of organizational things. I don't know them for anything else. If any of you guys own any Ernst products that aren't in that family, let me know. I've only ever seen that kind of thing from Ernst. I like their quality a lot. They have new and interesting colors, like they have high-vis yellow wrench racks and socket trays and stuff like that. That's just a regular black and red drawer organizers. That's something else I haven't had in a long time on the truck. And diabolical. Is either me or Joel Osteen will watch this morning, and here I am. Well, I thank you for making that choice, sir. Hope I can be at least as entertaining as Joel Osteen is. I didn't think I reordered one of these, but I guess I did. This is the Lyle digital circuit tester. This is the one that measures from 3 to 49 volts. It has an LCD display. You can't see it because it's on the other side. And a coiled cord. Lifetime warranty on these. I like that because very few test lights have lifetime warranties. They light up red and green based on when you got a negative and ground, or positive and ground rather. And you can read the voltage pretty easily. There are other brands of these. There's one from Astro, which is about half the price, but they don't have a lifetime warranty. So on these guys, yes, they're very good quality, and you are paying for the warranty, but it's the last one you'll have to buy. So if anything goes wrong with it, I mean, the cord phrase, or the strain relief fails, or the module stops working in there, whatever, they're covered. But unfortunately, they're over $100. So they're pricey. And again, if you're not familiar, I'm talking all tool truck prices. So it's going to be way more than going to the store buying online. The 3/8 digital torque wrench from Gearwrench. This is the one that has the 120 XP mechanism. It has a flex head, 2-degree plus or minus accuracy, and because it's the 120 XP mechanism, it has a 3-degree swing arc on these. The coolest thing about these is that they have angle. So you have a full-featured torque wrench that's perfectly accurate, perfectly reliable. I think I've had one of these come back under warranty, and that it was broken out of the box. So I just swapped it out for the guy. Other than that, I've never had a problem with one at all. And I sell a lot of these because for what you get, the price is rather good. They're about half the price of the Snap-on ones. The only thing I wish Gearwrench would do is I wish they would up the range of their half-inch one to be a little more competitive, because Snap-on has one that goes to 300 foot-pounds, whereas the Gearwrench one goes to 250, which most every other half-inch drive torque wrench does. But Snap-on found a need in the market there, and they addressed it, and people do like that as a result. Sometimes people choose those over the Gearwrench ones simply because of the range. So I wish that there was an offering I could do to be a little more competitive in that space. But for the price, it's tough to beat the Gearwrench ones. They've been very popular, and people like those a lot. Make sure I got caught up in the chat. Chef Shade Tree says, I have a badass light from Performance Tools too. Performance Tool has a lot of cool stuff. Their brand is, well, I sell their stuff too, but you'll find their brand, I think, in Napa and some other part stores. And I was a little iffy about some of their stuff because I didn't know what the quality would be. But I think the stuff is fine. I've not really had an issue with it. You're going to save a bunch of money, and usually that means either quality is going to suffer or warranty after the sale is going to suffer, or maybe or both. So I'm not intimately familiar with this stuff. I'll get some of their things every now and then when nobody else has them. For example, they've got a really good board brush set. It's a smaller set that I haven't been able to find under any other brand, or if I have, they've been sold out or on back order. So I've gotten stuff from Performance Tool that's been rather good. On a tool truck, find a better price than the 8-piece master sensor socket kit for less than $100. I don't know that you can, because the other ones I've seen, I think the next lowest price I've ever seen was $150. But for some reason, the Gearwrench one's $100, and it's always been $100 as far as I know. I've never seen that price change in years. And this is the same set that everybody has. I suspect they all come out of one factory. I know Sunex has a set, CTA has a set, Lyle does, a bunch of different brands do, and they're all more. And when I see the ones on the Mako truck and the Mack truck, they're all $150, $200. For $100, and the funny thing is, I'll surprise guys with this price. If it's not broken, fix it. Ask if it has a 5/8 or 16 millimeter. Let me look. It's got a 1 3/16, 7/8, 1/16, 7/8, 1/16, 7/8, 7/8, 1/16. No, it does not. The other manufacturer of these kinds of sockets is Schley, and they make a different style. They make them that are much heavier duty, and they do have different sizes than these. So I don't know if they've got one of those. I can check. But the Schley ones are much beefier. And if you're up against a really tough sensor to come out, it's entirely possible that you can spread the thinner walls on these and those like them. If you need a beefier one, Schley is the one to go with, but each socket costs like half the price of this entire kit. So it's a choice you have to make. If you need it, you need it. and I'll get you the Schley one if you need that, because sometimes it's the only one for the job. Most applications, these are fine, but when you have that heavy duty application and these are spreading on you, then you're going to have to go with that heavier duty one from Schley. Much thicker wall, much more expensive. Schley is a great company that makes only specialty stuff, so of course you're going to pay more for it. Andrew Scott says, I have a hard time getting past Apex Tool Bain Capital business practices and willingness to kill American manufacturing jobs. Well, I hear you. It's an unfortunate reality of the business landscape. And if I could buy everything made in the U.S., I would. Unfortunately, I can't. It's not practical. It's not affordable. I know there are some customers who say they will always buy stuff and only buy stuff made in the U.S., and I admire that. I want to be able to do that. But if I put, I don't know, say, well, a really good example is, a socket set. Let's say a socket set from Gearwrench on the tool truck, maybe it costs $70. If I put that next to one from Right Tool or SK Tool, and they're selling for $300 or $400, what are you going to choose? At some point, a made in USA principle has a limit to what you can afford. And as much as I want to sell made in the USA stuff all the time, if I put a socket set from SK or Right on the truck next to a socket set from Gearwrench or Sunex, which are the ones people are going to buy? They're going to save themselves the many hundreds of dollars. And I believe me, Andrew, I'm with you 100%. I don't like the fact that they do that. I know they're not alone. Lots of companies do it, and it's an unfortunate reality of the business landscape here, and we see it all the time. There was a collective anguish when the Great American Motorcycle Company, Harley Davidson, they sent their manufacturing to Mexico, and they started buying parts from Germany and Japan and other countries too. And that was a big kick in the gut to a lot of people. Even they had to do it because it's so difficult to bring an affordable product to market otherwise. So it's what we're all up against. So believe me, I feel your pain on that one. Jake Chef says, I've always been happy with my Gearwrench tools. They're priced right. I think so. I like their price points a lot. And it's the one thing that coupled with good quality, and they put a lifetime warranty on all their hardline tools. I think it's been terrific to carry their brand, especially because they keep growing the product line. I really like the fact that they keep introducing more and more to the line. Sergio says, in this global economy, it's impossible to buy everything made in the USA. Would you believe that it's impossible to buy, to find some particular products that are made in the USA? I searched high and low for some stuff from a customer once he had some criteria. He said, I want it. I think he was looking for a scissor lift, a full vehicle service lift. Scissor lift, air over pneumatic. And he said to me, here's my criteria. He says, I want to pay less than $5,000 and it has to be made in the US. And they gave me some dimensional requirements that he had. I'm like, it's good luck. I couldn't find one. Could not. There may be a lift company that manufactures in the US. I haven't found them. And if they are, I'm pretty sure their full vehicle scissor lift is going to cost more than $5,000. So when you have criteria like that, sometimes it is in fact impossible to find the right product for somebody, unfortunately. And that pains me to say it, but it's true. Definitely not affordable. Taiwan has great quality. They do. There's a lot of really good quality stuff that comes out of Taiwan. Even, believe it or not, if you pay for it, you can get really good stuff manufactured in China. Look at Milwaukee, for example. They're a manufacturer that is based whose manufacturing is based in China, and they have high quality tools. A lot of companies do. You're going to pay for it. Yeah, you can get a lot of cheap junk made in China. You can run the gamut on, you want the cheap $20 thing, or you want the expensive $400 thing, and you, as a manufacturer, you can tell the guys who are actually at the plants what you want, what the specs are, the duty cycles you want them to last. You're going to engineer this thing out, and you're going to submit that product to be manufactured from these Japanese guys or from the Chinese guys, and they're going to say, sure, we'll do that, and here's how much it's going to cost. And you'll say yes or no to that based on the order volume and what you think you can retail it for and all the rest of it. So it really depends on what you're getting and what your specs are initially. You can put a bargain tiered tool out there if you want, and you're going to save yourself some money, but is it really worth it? That's the ongoing question. Andrew Scott says John Deere just sent cab manufacturing to Mexico. I believe that's interesting. It's kind of tough to argue the cost of the cost of manufacturing and the cost of raw materials and goods. Jeremy says Harley jugs are cast in China. Casting is hard in USA because of EPA regulations. That's an excellent point. I'm glad you brought that up. That came up in a conversation a week or so ago. I was having in a backroom live chat with somebody who said one of the reasons why we outsource as much as we do is because of the EPA regulations surrounding manufacturing processes. Could we comply? Absolutely we could, but at what cost? And it costs a lot of money for companies to be compliant with a lot of those regulations. So a lot of times what do? Let's just sweep this under the rug and give it to another country who doesn't have the kinds of regulations we have, and they make them and they do all kinds of things to the environment that they probably shouldn't be doing. But guess what? We get a product we can afford. And unfortunately, that's a big driver. I used to work years ago in the IT industry, and I worked for Clean Harbor Environmental Services, greatest IT job I ever had. As an IT director there, I had a good fortune of traveling around the country and seeing a lot of their sites because I had to help upgrade their infrastructure on stuff. And I learned a tremendous amount about waste handling and waste practices and EPA regulations and stuff like that. Harbor Freight, Clean Harbors would regularly purchase other companies who had certain kind of waste handling businesses because they already had permits and licenses for it. So it was less expensive for them to purchase a company than it was for them sometimes to apply for and get their own licensure to perform those same kinds of things. So it's expensive. It can be ornery and cumbersome. So yeah, it's way easier just to outsource it to a country that doesn't have the same environmental concerns and standards that we do. And if it's not broken, says my nephew got his eyes opened. He wanted only USA made tools versus the imported ones. I admire that. I do. I really wish I could offer all made in USA stuff, but unfortunately, as we've been talking about, the practicality is difficult. Just getting caught up in the chat, so bear with me as I just breeze through what you're writing. I mean, everyone's bringing up such good points. Daniel says everyone can't want to make $30 an hour and also expect American-made products to be cheap. That's absolutely right. And I've done some comparisons in some of my flyer drop videos with SK tools specifically. They're still made in the U.S., even though they sold to a Chinese company. They're still made here. And SK is still run here. And Wright Tool, an outstanding brand. I don't know that you can buy better quality based on their specs and their tolerances. They're fantastic. I've seen side-by-side tests with Wright from the Torque Test channel and some other YouTubers that do really good in-depth reviews on stuff. And Wright would come out on top. I think they beat Snap-on, which is a fantastic high-quality brand. I think they beat them in their tolerances and hardness and their performance under stress. But finding the customers who would pay those kinds of prices for Wright wrenches is really difficult. And I honestly couldn't be in business if I offered that, or I'd be throwing my money away, unfortunately, if I put a set of Wright wrenches on a shelf for $600 next to a similar one from Gearwrench for $200. At some point, you kind of sit there, I'd like to buy the USA one, but golly, for $400 more, at some point, practicality wins out and affordability wins out. And the responsibility you have to your family wins out. It's not easy. We all have a budget. We all have only so much money. And I wish we could all buy USA stuff with it, but it's too difficult to do. And Andrew Scott says you buy a lot of USA made tools if you're willing to search for the deals, buy used and surplus, and even buy and sell. Yeah, that's absolutely true. There's a really good market for used tools. Look at estate sales, pawn shops, yard sales, garage sales, even just going on marketplaces like Facebook and OfferUp and Craigslist. You can find really good deals on this stuff. At that point, though, you're buying for quality. You're not necessarily supporting American businesses because you're not buying from an American business at that point if you're buying used. But you're still getting quality tools. Jay Wilkers asks, what's my normal turnaround on Gearwrench warranty? I broke my ratchet and submitted the claim just the other day. When I do ratchet warranties, I can just pop new guts in on the truck because I keep an inventory of replacement kits for the rebuild kits for the heads on those. If it's something like the handle or a pin or the flex head broke or something like that, then I can also swap that on the truck. I just have to have it in stock to do that. If I don't, I have to order it. And normally it's a week or so, assuming everything's in stock with the distributors. Morning, Anthony, GM85. Wow, it's early. I haven't even had my morning coffee and beer combo. Oh, bless your heart. This is a two-piece, what's called the double X Pliers Set from Gearwrench. These are double jointed. Got a joint there and a joint there. These are double jointed long reach pliers. There's two in this set because one has a straight tip and one is a 45-degree angle tip. And you can see that they're fairly long. And the reason why is because, as they show on the diagram on the back of the package, with the double joints, what happens is the jaws open wider than the handles up to a certain point. So you can get this in a tight space far more than if you had a single joint here and just had the handles then come off that single joint, because very quickly the handles then would become wider than the jaws. This way you get a significant extra length that you can, for the space that you can insert these in. So that's why they do the double jointed ones on these. And they have a number of different double jointed plier designs. These are just a regular needle nose on the tips. And in fact, Raging Cajun, who is a viewer and is on a lot of the live streams that I've been on, has bought a set of these for me recently. So I appreciate that. Raging, thank you for that. And that's an item I haven't had in stock in a long time, like a lot of these are. All right, let's get caught up in the chat. Chef Shade Tree says, I think Craftsman is going to make some American-made affordable tools when the Texas plant gets going. Thing is, they don't have a bunch of people working. Most of the manufacturing process is going to be by robots and machines. That's a bummer. But hey, robots need jobs too, don't they? Ugh. I think that's an unfortunate reality too, is not only are we offshoring manufacturing, but we're automating it to the point where we don't need the hands of American workers in the plants anymore. And Kyle Torres says, I have that model of pliers made by Crescent, I think. Crescent and Gearwrench are both owned by Apex Tool Group, so you are probably right about that. I'm sure they are exactly the same things. All right, let's keep going. These are weather pack crimpers from SG Tool. These are the nice heavy-duty ratcheting ones, and they run a bunch of different sizes in the dies. 22 to 18, 16 to 14, and 12 to 10 gauge. Good, solid rationing set. These are always on the truck. I just sold the last pair the other day. Maybe the single best set of adapters you'll ever see. These are from gray pneumatic. I can get these from Sunex, but they're easier for me to get from gray, so I do. These are the most ingenious design I've ever seen. If you don't have a set of these, you're going to want one because they're the handiest things ever. So the first one adapts your quarter drive tool to 3/8. The second one goes from 3/8 to half, and this goes from half to 3/4. And they're low profile. And what happens is the anvil of the tool goes up inside the square drive of the adapter. Yes. So what happens is the anvil comes up to about here. You do not get the same twisting forces on the weakest part of this adapter where the square drive meets the base because the anvil's in there. So you don't get the same twisting. These don't break. I have never seen a broken one. And if they do, they've got a lifetime warranty. They also have magnets on the top side and the bottom side. So the magnets hold your socket on, and on the bottom side, they'll stick on your tool. I think that that's the greatest design ever. I'm sure they break. I just never saw it. All tools break. Speaking of our friends at Crescent, they make a self-adjusting pipe wrench. I have no idea if this is any good. This is a brand new thing, I think. I don't know. I don't remember seeing this before, but I made it into a flyer and I had a customer asking me for one. So this just came in. They've been on back order because I think they're new. I am dying to know how well this works. If you have one, let me know what you think. I've never seen them before. Oh, they seem pretty beefy. I don't know. The jaw goes from 5/8 to 1.5 inches, or from 19 to 38 millimeters, for all you metric guys out there. I'll be interested to get some customer feedback on that once he has a chance to use it. Tell me what he thinks. And let's get caught up in the chat here. Let me just breeze through, see if there's anything I need to get caught up on. Yeah, you are, Andrew. You're right. You're supporting small businesses when you buy from businesses. No doubt about it. There's so many intricacies to what it means to buy U.S. stuff. For resellers like eBay and pawn shops, even if they weren't carrying USA-made tools, you'd still be supporting them. And I think that gets lost a lot in the whole discussion about USA-made stuff. And some people argue that if we don't buy stuff that's manufactured in the U.S., we're not supporting American jobs. That's partially true. What we're not supporting is American manufacturing, but we are supporting freight carriers that get the stuff from overseas. We're supporting, the airlines and the shipping companies that do that. We're supporting the people that offload the vessels at the ports or in the airports. We're supporting the train companies and the trucking companies that move the stuff from offload to the distributors who are American owned, and those guys who sell to retailers like me who are American owned. And there's a lot of American ownership in that whole supply chain. The piece that isn't is the manufacturing piece. So yes, you are still supporting American companies, even if you don't buy American. You're not supporting American manufacturing because, unfortunately, if it's not here, then you can't support it. I mean, if we've outsourced that to overseas stuff and there's no one here to support, then we're not doing it. Now, if you want to support the U.S.-made companies like Wright and SK, great. I encourage you to do that. Just know that there's a significant cost to pay for that. I think that it's a very worthy goal. All right, let me make sure we're caught up in here. East Coast Ken is with us, and he says robots and machines will take over production eventually. Get in front of it, learn how to do maintenance on said machines. That's a really good point. I think there's always going to be an industry for that, even if it's not the hands-on manufacturing. Certainly supporting the manufacturers will be a big industry in itself. And Chef Shaytree says that, yeah, it's true. The only people that'll be working at the plant are those people. It's happened in all manufacturing. Yeah, it's tough. There's no doubt about it. And Anthony GM85 says he's learning to troubleshoot equipment in the shop. Yeah, the digital controls don't fix everything. Chef Shaytree says my dad worked at the Lima engine plant. He started in 73. There were over 2,000 people that worked there. Today, there's barely over 1,000. And they build more motors there now. I have a feeling that that's a pretty predictable and consistent trend that we've seen in manufacturing in general. And Anthony says that you should see the Tesla factory. It's a hybrid, but they're phasing out people in favor of robotics. I've seen it happen. 27 people, a 27-person group got cut down to 12 people. And that's such a young company too. So they're making a lot of moves rather quick. And Matt Tuckey says that adjustable prep wrench might be okay for your diesel truck alignment guys for tow tubes. Yeah, the guy who bought it is a diesel tech. I don't know what his intended application is. I'm going to ask him. I'll see him Thursday when he's going to get that, and I'll see what he's going to be using it. I'm really curious now. And Anthony GM85 says he buys right tools from the only online place I know of. Good for you, man. I love the company. I love the brand. Love the quality. It's just tough to get on board with the pricing, unfortunately, because as a tool truck, I'm a small time operator, so I move such low volume that my pricing is going to be more expensive because my costs are more expensive. So unfortunately, I can't give like big discounts and be competitive with that stuff. But still, even if you buy it from the less expensive place you can find or the least expensive place you find, you're still going to pay more for them. And I hope that their quality and their service is worth it. It should be. I mean, that's absolutely premium level pricing for premium grade tools. All right, what do we got next? This is one of the two kinds of wrench extenders that Mueller Cupes has. This is a smaller of the two. Their big one's really expensive. Their big one costs, I think, like $200. And then I just saw this one in a Macro flyer for I think like $150. On my truck, it's $75. There says Macro on it, but it's the same one. This is a wrench extender that you would use instead of doubling up wrenches when you need extra leverage. I know the old timers are going to say that they're going to do that all the time, but there is a danger element to that. So be careful, because when you put a wrench on another wrench, the potential for slippage is great and injury follows shortly after. This is not going to have that problem because you lock the wrench into the jaws there. And if you need extra leverage, look, as a square drive hole, put your breaker bar. I said breaker bar, not ratchet. Put your breaker bar on that, and you can have this goofy long, thing that has more leverage than you can handle. Vim makes an outstanding version of this as well. I keep both on the truck because the preference comes down to the handle. Vim just has a really nice rubber comfort grip on this with no square drive. And Mueller has the square drive with the all metal handle. So depending on what people want, price is about the same. I think it's like $5 difference between them. I'll stock both of them. And Andrew says, I just heard a story about a new small business that had a hard time trying to make U.S. flags here because there isn't many left that worked in American textiles manufacturing. Isn't that disappointing when you see on an American flag it's stamped made in China? That's weird. I know. Carl needed a wrench extender earlier this week. Yeah, they're really popular. It's one of those really good impulse buys. And Anthony asks, which one can hold 1.1 and 1.25 wrench? Vim has wider jaws, and I know I can put a 33 millimeter in there. Is that close to 1.25? I have to look that up to know what the fractional equivalent is, but the Vim jaws are a little wider. Restocking on some basics like brake gauge tools. Pretty standard color-coded gauges for brake thickness. Hang on. So I got all the. I'm surrounded by the boxes, so I keep ducking down and grabbing them. The cool thing about those brake gauges is, I mean, it's a brake thickness gauge. You know, there's, I don't know, half a dozen different brands I have access to. I just go with whichever one is cheapest and most available. That's the one from K-Tool. I've been liking more and more stuff from K-Tool because they're a private label brand that gets their stuff made by lots of other companies. So it's all good quality stuff. A lot of their stuff is made by companies that, you know, like their pry bars are made from Mayhew. If you like the Mayhew Dominator pry bar, and who doesn't, then you'll love the K-Tool ones because they're a little bit less money and they're the same made in USA pry bar with a lifetime warranty. Big fan of Lyle, so I'm going to show you a few Lyle things. This is their disconnect pliers. These are really handy for all kinds of all kinds of connectors. You can disconnect airlines with these as well. What you do is there's a V groove there, and then you squeeze the handles and it moves the V grooves. And you can actually use these for airlines by clamping a pair of vice grips just south of the connector, putting this in between there, and it pops off the airline. And that's a big cost savings because you can buy specialty airline pliers for way more money. I think there's like $18 in the truck or something, you know, and as opposed to buying a pair of airline pliers for I think $70 now. The other thing that I keep on the truck a lot is their universal lift support clamp. Just don't over tighten it and don't forget to take it off. Because if you over tighten these, you can bend the back strap there. So just be careful. And Milton has this very handy pocket blowgun. This is just focus. There we go. This is just plug it in, it's on, unplug it, it's off kind of deal. Very handy to blow the dust off yourself if you're a body guy, particularly. Paint and body guys love those. We're done with that side. Let's move on to this side. No, let's go behind. Yeah, this isn't easy, but you're worth it. This is a stool from Gearwrench. That's a Gearwrench stool. What did they eat? Oh, the jokes. Very beefy base on this guy. Has a little a hydraulic shock in there so you can adjust the height with a little paddle. Comfy for your tush. I can get that stool from a bunch of different brands. The Gearwrench one is the cheapest right now, so that's the one we went with. Save you some money where we can. That one's in the flyer, and I've been a little disappointed in the cost of creepers and creeper seating, but that stool is a reasonable price right now. And don't be hating on Lyle because the cost of their plastic creepers have skyrocketed. But I'm going to go ahead and hate on Lyle. Because the cost of your plastic creepers is insane right now. In my flyer, the standard colors are $160 for a plastic creeper. And if you want orange or green, you're going to pay $175, I think. You price yourself right out of the market. How can we do this? Now, granted, they put a lifetime warranty on the plastic deck, but not the casters, not the head pad. And you know, I think the weight limit on those is like 250 pounds or something like that. So guess what? Most people are gonna sag that thing right in the middle. And when they do, you know, we try to get some warranty taken care of, and we do, but it's not always easy because sometimes they ask questions. Are you sure the person didn't exceed the weight capacity? Everybody exceeds the weight capacity. It's made out of plastic. Weight. K-Tool to the rescue. Plastic creeper, right? Note the design. These are very similar to the Lyle ones, blow molded plastic creeper, but they have a higher weight capacity of 300 pounds because of that X design you saw on there. It provides some rigidity to it. They do not have a lifetime warranty, but you're saving a ton of money. I think those are going on the truck for just over $100. So those are the ones that are put on the truck. And I'll just tell people not to run them over, which is usually why people ask for warranty claims. Excuse me. Usually why people ask for warranty claims on the creepers anyways, because they ran them over with a truck. Well, something we can do about that. Don't run them over. And that'll support you if you're a little larger around the middle. All right, let's get caught up in the chat. See if we got anything we got to address here. And Speedwrench says every new tech needs a brake pad thickness gauge. Yes, that should be in everyone's tool cart, especially if you're doing a lot of brake jobs, tire rotations, if it's part of your regular inspection work when you get a car up on the lift. Very handy, quick, easy. Yeah, because what you tell them is don't guess. No, absolutely. Nothing beats documenting things to precision. And that is one of the things I really like about Cass from Speedwrench is he's very well disciplined when it comes to that kind of thing. Cass and I know each other if for folks who don't know either of the two of us. And he has shown me a lot in my evolution as a tool guy over the years, and I learned a lot from him. And the one thing that I really like about him is the way he sticks to disciplined approaches to things like that. But if you document stuff exactly, then you don't have to guess, and you can always rely on that information. And if you have an issue with a customer down the line, you can fall back on that, and that's really important, especially with something as important as brakes. Tell me one more important system on a car than its braking system. I don't know that there is one, and documenting that is very, very important. Yeah, that's a stool, Jonathan. Good to see you, man. Thanks for coming on. And Carl Torres says, that looks like the Mako Creeper. Yeah, Mako does not manufacture most of their own stuff. The only things that Mako actually manufactures themselves, I think their toolboxes and some of their carts. All of their tools are either contracted to be manufactured by somebody like their power tools or third-party branded by somebody else. And Lyle, for example, makes the plastic creeper for everybody. The creeper I just showed you is also made by some other company for everybody that carries that same creeper. Sunex has it. Mako has it. I don't know if Cornwall has it too, but in the world of manufacturing where there's so many third-party manufacturers, branding stuff for the customer is huge. To the point where, if you wanted to start your own tool company and contract with these manufacturers and you said, hey, I started a company, Carl's Tools, stamp my name on it. And they say, okay, order 10,000 at a time and we'll do that. And you go, great. And you cut the check for 10 grand or 10,000 units and they send you creepers with your name on them. That's the way the business works for a lot of tools. AJ Manufacturing is a U.S. manufacturer who makes wrenches and sockets and ratchets for Matco and they were making for Sears. They manufacture some stuff for Snap-on and a lot of warehouse distributors, which are large companies like ones I buy most of my stuff from, who has their own brands, right? So So they'll go, they'll say, I want to, you know, like the Monster tool brand, if you remember Monster. That was owned by a company called ISN, and they would just contract the manufacture of their tools with their name on it. And that's the way a lot of this business works. And Jeremy says oil prices are up because of Putin's price hike. So plastics are going to cost more. Yeah, you know, that's a very real ripple effect from the increased cost of petroleum. All petroleum-based products are going to suffer as well. Jonathan Sherwood says the techs don't exceed the weight capacity of the creepers. It's the vehicles they drive that do. True that. All right, let's keep going here. Oh, we finished with the right side. On the left side. No, we're doing behind me. Hold on. We got a whole box of stuff that came back from Milwaukee. Milwaukee repairs, stuff done under warranty. Very quick and easy process that Milwaukee has. So a lot of stuff just came back from them. First is their M12 Soldering Iron. Very handy soldering iron. We saw a lot of these. They go from 0 to wicked hot in 18 seconds, I think. I don't know. For anyone who owns one, weigh in. How do you like them? What are the limitations? Can you do like larger gauge wire with them comfortably, or do you stay more toward like the smaller gauge stuff? We had a drill go out that had a bad chuck. New chuck. That's brand spanking right there. Looks like they replaced. Yeah, looks like they replaced just a chuck. Everything from there back is the same as it's been. What else we got? Oh, we got a battery. This is an M12 6 amp hour battery that came back. What is this? Oh, 3/8. This is a 3/8 Milwaukee Impact. This one had a weird problem where in order for this thing to change direction, you have to remove the battery. So you hit the selector switch and it would still go in the direction it was in. And remove the battery, put it back, and then you could change the selector switch. But just one time. So I doubt it was a mechanical issue. I bet that was something in the solid state controls. We got a replacement Gearwrench wrench, some other replacement individual wrenches. That's not exciting. All right. Here's one over there. It's the summertime, which means you're sweating it out in the shop. Don't sweat it. Blow it. I just thought of that on the fly. That's not a good tagline. Don't use that in advertising. This is the Big Chill Blower from K-Tool. This is the same Big Chill Blower from every other brand that has them. I don't know who actually makes them, but K-Tool's branding this one for them. And this is the big one that moves 1,200 cubic feet of air per minute. They have a smaller one that moves 300. I don't even bother to put those on the truck because if people have the choice, they're going to go for the bigger unit. it moves a surprising amount of air. If you don't have one, you will be surprised when you stand in front of them, put that thing on high, and you'll feel that for quite a long ways away. If you're sitting right in front of it, it can be a little too much sometimes. And they have the rubber feet, so you can just rotate the thing, and it comes to rest in one of 4 positions, so you can direct the airflow up or straight or down, or however you want to do it. Has 2 AC outlets in the handle. Handy little tool, handy little unit. Hey, Mark from Mid-Atlantic Tools. You can't go live. Challenge to you, Mark. If you want in, say the word, man. I'll send you a link. We'll jump on board together. Yes. Come on. Do it. Do it. Do it. And then you can make fun of me for my tool buying choices. Restocking on some 1/2-inch drive impact sockets from Sunex. This is their 33-piece set. Metric. It runs 9 mil to 30 millimeters. So it's pretty substantial. And I think Sunex has perfectly good impact sockets. I'm sure a bunch of you folks have them. I know a bunch of guys have bought these from me, but Speedwrench has bought a few of these sets from me over the years. I think that quality-wise, they compare perfectly well to anybody else's out there. And not to bash anybody, but just as an example, Cornwell they've been having some kind of heat treatment issue with a lot of their impact sockets. The ones that I sell a lot of individually to truck technicians are the 33 millimeter or the 1 5/16 for the wheel lugs. And they're 1/2-inch drive deep. When an impact socket breaks, the way it's supposed to break is it's supposed to just crack, maybe peel away a little bit, because the alloy that they make an impact grade socket from is chromium molybdenum. And it's supposed to have a greater ductility than chrome vanadium. That means that it's able to expand and contract. It's a little softer metal than a chrome vanadium. And if any metallurgists are out there in the chat, correct me if I'm wrong on any of this stuff, please. So that when the thing breaks, and they will, because they all break, because they go through a lot of heating and cooling cycles when you're using them on something large like that. When it breaks, it's going to crack and maybe peel a little bit. Fine. Get you a new one. All under warranty. A chrome vanadium socket, or just chrome socket, isn't intended to be used on impact tools because it does not have the same ductility. It's much more brittle, much more rigid material. So it's gonna crack and fracture. So don't use them on impact because of that, because it's dangerous. You have flying pieces. You can get them in the face and the eye or hurt somebody else or whatever. The Cornwell sockets have been shattering, and I've helped a few guys out with them recently. So I don't know if they have a bad batch, but it's a chromoly socket, which is not supposed to shatter. When a chromoly socket shatters, something's wrong in their heat treatment or their manufacturing process or the alloy they're using or something. Something's not right there, because that's not supposed to happen. I've never seen that issue with Sunex or Gray Pneumatic or Gearwrench or any of the impact socket brands that I normally deal with. They seem to be perfectly consistent, and they seem to have their manufacturing processes nailed perfectly. As an interesting aside, I don't know if it's true for their sockets, but Cornwell owns a U.S. foundry, and I believe they make I know they make the pry bars there up to a certain size, and after that, I think Mayhew makes them after a certain size. I'm not sure, but sorry, I just saw a couple things in the chat that grabbed my attention. So I don't know if it's something they're doing in their plant or if it's something they're doing with someone they've outsourced it to. The long and short of it is that's dangerous. You can't have an impact socket shatter like that. And I'll refer again to something that Speedrun said about what was it that you said? What you found, Cass? You found like a black oxide socket that you would think is an impact because it's black, and yet it was a chrome vanadium steel socket. So that's pretty tricky, and I think it's a dirty trick. So be careful what you're buying. The reputable brands should be perfectly fine to go with. If you see an issue like a shattering chromoly socket, that is a problem. If it's a consistent problem, you may want to switch brands because clearly there's something wrong with their manufacturing. So give me 1 sec. I just gotta shoot over an email to Mark from Mid Atlantic Tools. Maybe he'll join us. This will be kind of fun. All right, let's get you going here. All right, let's see if this works, Mark. I just sent that over to you. All right, what's next? More from K-Tool because these are the same as everyone else's. This is the 9-piece, 10-piece slide hammer kit. That's got all the different jaw attachments. I haven't had one of these on the truck in a long time, so it's really good to get one of these back in inventory. So it has different length jaws. Excuse me while I put it back together again because stuff fell out. Has long ones, short ones. Has different yokes for your jaws. It has some screw type extractors, or rather attachments for pullers. A few different forcing screws. And a few different yokes. There's this one. And then there's this one. And here's the hammer. On these, I'm pretty sure, from what I have seen, quality is very consistent between brands. The Gearwrench ones I've carried in the past, and I've had good luck with those. K-Tool ones seem to be just as serviceable as those are. Never really saw much of a difference. So this is another one of those where I'll go with price if the quality seems pretty consistent, and it does with these. So now the K-Tool one just came in a little less. My jaws are falling. The K-Tool ones came in a little less expensive this time around. So that's the ones we're going with. If you're a body guy, then you may have a Slugger Kit. And nice. I'd open this metal case for you, but I can't because the latch bent in shipping. Okay, well, I gotta. Dang it. If you know what the Slugger Kit is, it's a slide hammer puller kit for metalwork, and I will show you something that has kind of surprised me. And it's right in line with what we talked about before. The one the customer asked me to get him was made by SG Tool. And I looked it up. and they're on back order. So I emailed my rep and I said, hey, do you have an alternative to these? And he said, yeah, as a matter of fact, we do. Same set, made by a company called Keysco, Keysco. SG Tool does not manufacture their Slugger Kit in the US. I don't know where it comes from. But Keysco does. And it's $20 less than the SG Tool kit. How is that a thing? Like, we were just talking about that earlier. I mean, that's like finding a unicorn. Made in USA, perfectly good quality, comparable with the other brands, and it's less money. That never happens, but there it is. All right, let's go back in the chat. Jeremy asks, are they Cornwell or Cornwell Blue Power? Blue Power is made in Taiwan. Actual Cornwell is made in Ohio. These are actually Cornwell branded sockets, the ones that were shattering. And I've seen that I service UPS and a couple of other big accounts where these guys have a lot of wheel work that they do in these large fleet shops. And for a time, like every week when I was going to UPS, these guys are bringing me more broken Cornwell sockets. And then I was helping them out with their warranties, but then they were asking if I could replace them with a more reliable brand. So I was getting them either Sunex or Gray Pneumatic, whichever was available. Both seemed perfectly fine. And they haven't had problems with the replacements, but they consistently had problems with the Cornwell ones. And last week I just took in a broken Cornwell one from somebody, same socket, same problem. So I don't know if it's just this issue they were having with some batches that were coming out. I don't know if they know about the issue. I don't know what their QC is like, so I don't know if they care. I don't know. Jonathan, yeah, that's Mary. She's a miniature dachshund. She was on the chair in back of me there. She's all over the place. She got a lot of energy. Some cheap impact sockets are chrome vanadium, not chromoly. Strange, but true, and very deceptive. So be very careful. Just because it might be a black oxide socket does not mean it's chromoly. And Cass says, yeah, there's several brands that are black oxide with the CRV rating. As seen at Harbor Freight, some Gearwrench sets. Be careful. Make sure you know what you're getting. And it's not always easy to see that ahead of time. And in fact, I was concerned because I was buying a specialty socket for somebody. Mary's back. I was buying a specialty socket for somebody, and I'm looking on my distributor's website in the catalog, and it impact grade socket, exactly what I thought I wanted. And it said in the product description, chrome vanadium. I'm like, oh, that can't be right. So I sent an email to my rep and I said, I need to make sure of this before I purchase this. Is it chromoly or chrome vanadium? He goes, no, that's a misprint. It is chromoly. I ordered it, double checked it when it came in. Sure enough, chromoly. So these are the things that you need to be thinking about and conscientious of. Let me go back to a comment Daniel made because Jonathan responded to it. There's been some issues with Chinese equivalent of H13 tool steel. Not sure if that's what they're using, but a lot of U.S. manufacturers buy it. There is another outstanding point when we talk about U.S.-based manufacturing. It's one thing to have the manufacturing facility on U.S. soil employing U.S. citizens, but where does that manufacturer get their raw materials from? We don't know. They could be in the U.S., could be Japan, could be China, Brazil, Germany. All these countries have a lot of steel exports. You don't necessarily know as a consumer where you're buying from. So just because you're buying from a U.S. manufacturer does not mean you're getting something made from U.S. materials. So it may very well be that substandard steels or even ores were being purchased from somebody and being brought stateside and either misprocessed or not processed appropriately, or it was done wrong from the source itself. Yeah, that's what Jonathan said. That's a good point. That's an outstanding point, Daniel, thanks for bringing that up. This is very good conversation today. I mean, there's a lot of cool learning going on here. And Fives has made it. Good to see you, man. Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen, clear the floor. May I have your attention, please? For the first time, bringing them on a live stream from Mid-Atlantic Tools. Here's Mark. You there? You on your camera? There he is.
You there?
I don't hear you, Mark. Are you on?
There you are. I have terrible internet.
You there?
Can't even hear you what you're saying.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're breaking up.
Really?
I told you I didn't think this might not work because I am actually in my truck.
You sound great.
Didn't hear a word you said.
Dang it. It might be your internet connection. You sound great to me on this end. So it's good to see.
I catch every other word. Just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me.
Perfectly.
Clearly.
Yeah.
So you can hear me clearly, but I can't hear you.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, I have no clue what you say.
Dang.
Not a single word.
That's a bummer.
Modern technology.
We
there
put
you
a
are.
man on the moon
Now
in
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Now I can hear you.
Good.
You're coming through.
Excellent.
Yeah. So
it might be
it's bouncing
spotty.
in and out.
All right. We'll work with it. We'll work with it. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate this. This is great to get you on.
Are you getting any feedback from my speakers or anything?
No, you sound great. Nice and clear.
All right. Because I can barely hear you. Let me turn you up just a little.
Okay.
How about now?
Yeah, sounds awesome.
Okay.
So what do you
I'm out here in my truck and I'm sweating my what's off.
On a Sunday, no less. What you getting stocked up?
I do it every Sunday.
Yeah, okay.
Nope. Caught half what you said.
So far, what's how's the tool haul look to you? Nothing?
Not a word, Lindsay.
Oh, it's such a bummer. It's so great to finally get Mark on here because he's got a tough schedule, and I've been asking him for a while if he wanted to pop on sometime. So we're gonna fight through these technical issues.
It's like right now you're fine, and then all of a sudden, boom, I'll get every other word you said, or you'll freeze up solid.
All right.
Yeah. So
how's the tool haul look so far to you?
Well, I'm almost done. I don't know where you guys are looking at, but there's a bunch of boxes. So that's actually what I was doing before my camera went off or my information that said, "Hey, Lindsay's on." I'm like, "Well, what the F?"
Well, I decided to try something new and go live with a tool haul and see what happens.
Well, it's funny. I did a video yesterday about all this inventory that I have right here.
Mm-hmm.
And, I put it, I uploaded it for, might be next week or the week after. I don't know. And I got to thinking, boy, these are a pain in the butt videos. Going through it, showing guys. I'm like, yeah, this ain't going to happen, I don't think.
They take some time for sure. And the one thing I particularly enjoy about doing it myself is I at least get a chance to go through every single item. And that way, at least stuff is fresh in my mind coming in the week where I know, oh yeah, that came in for this guy and I got this for that guy. And at least I have a chance to kind of go through everything. So I figured while I'm doing it, I'll shoot a video on it. And people seem to enjoy them. So
I even talked about you in it.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Only the good things are true, people.
Only the good things.
Only the good things. So how long does that take you on a Sunday to go get your truck ready for tomorrow?
I usually get out here around 11 o'clock. I'd say I'll probably be done. I'm almost done now. Usually it's like 1:30.
Okay.
And then I'm done.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier just to do it on a Sunday. Nobody bothers me. So.
Yep.
it's just a lot easier to put things away on a Sunday.
You know, I really appreciate when you do videos on your truck. I was looking at a Cornwall guy who did a video on his truck, and I really appreciate it because it shows me what you're carrying and gives me ideas for stuff I should carry. And
I was with another tool company, franchise. I'm not even going to say which one it was because I do not like them at all, and they don't like me at all, and we're not allowed to talk about each other. That's how bad it got.
Oh boy!
And I carry probably two-thirds, maybe even more of what I used to carry because of pricing.
Mm-hmm.
That's it, just because of pricing.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, before it was so hard to stock the truck. You know, I'd buy an item, and the tools that I was buying was technically at end user price.
Yeah.
That's what it cost me, end user price. And then I had to turn around and try to mark it up whatever I could get for it without, you know, taking a loss. And it was not easy. And what happened was every year they would do an increase. Guys are like, Mark, that's too much. So I would try to discount it or give them a little bit of a deal. Now my profit is doing this.
Oh, yeah.
After a while, you cannot put fuel in the tank. That's what it ends up being. You can't put fuel in the tank. So I had to get away from them. And when I got away from them, I do more now in a week without even selling a toolbox.
Oh, yeah.
And
now, do you normally sell toolboxes and scanners and bigger ticket items, or do you stay away from them?
I'll sell scanners, but I don't have to. And usually the bigger items are just to the shop owners. So that's, usually it's just to the shop owners. But I mean, I got a big old dead hole right here that I'm actually planning on putting shelves in.
That's a good idea. I fill that hole up with the adjustable work tables.
Yes, well, I have them too. Right now I'm out of them, but I'm still. I think what I usually do is I think you can get a good deal when you buy multiple adjustable work tables.
Yes.
So I'll buy multiple. I'll build one. I can strap one to the back wall. I can shove the rest underneath. And the guys come on, hey, I want one. Well, you can have this one, or I'll give you a little bit off if you want to build it yourself.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if they build it themselves, and when I say a little bit, it's a little bit because it don't take long to build them.
What 10 minutes tops. And in fact, I was stoked once we started buying the K-Tool ones, the ATD ones from Medco. Not only are we saving money over the cost of the K-Tool ones from ISN, but the casters are already attached to the base. And anything you can do to save us some time on the assembly is great. That saves you a few minutes of sticking casters on the base. So they're already done. The only thing we got to do is just put the two halves of the base together, drop the tube in, put the top on, and we're done. It's fast. And you do enough of them, you get good at them after a while.
Yeah. So this is actually that video I was talking to you about. That's part of that video, and that's where I mentioned you. So
what are your thoughts on the Coast versus Streamlight?
Believe it or not, even when I show my guys the difference, all my guys still go to Streamlight.
No kidding.
I've sold so many Streamlights over the years. I think I just have them.
Yeah.
And I show them and I give them the option. And I have a couple guys. Usually it's the headlights that are really the top. They'll go right to the headlights over Streamlight.
Yep.
But when it comes to a flashlight, and which is a shame because like you were saying, and here they are. These go out. These go out today. Oh, where you at? There you go.
Yep.
And these guys are without flashlights right now. So, but that they don't care. They're like, it's all right.
Oh yeah.
Usually they, most of these guys I've sold 2 flashlights to, so I'm good.
Hey, you gotta have a backup. Unfortunately,
You have a backup. I'm sending it out. You want to buy another one now? So
yeah, and it's you give people all the information, and then I'm happy to accommodate whatever their choice is.
Yeah.
And I think that's
that was one thing I used. That's when it comes to a franchise. That's one thing that would drive me crazy. No, sell them this. I don't want to sell them that. They want this. No, this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can get this. Oh no, you're not allowed to do that. And we can see that. We can see that when you download and blah blah.
No, it was the most restrictive model. And then someone put it to me really well. They said, a franchise company is never going to write a franchise agreement to benefit the franchisee. Like, no, that's true. Because they have very restrictive rules where you can and can't operate, what you can and can't buy, what your prices are. You can't even, you can't shop competitively, which is silly to me. So you rely on the brand name, but so many people know now that the brand name is not all there is to it anymore. That there's perfectly good other brands that they may not have heard of, or stuff that's made from the same manufacturers, and therefore it's the identical tool, just with a different brand. And I spent so much time learning that. I'm still learning it because it changes all the time. But it's something that I want to always have at the forefront because it gives me good information to pass along. And as long as I trust what I'm telling them, then they can make a good decision that way.
You were on that chat, the live stream, and I think Cass said he threw you under the bus when he said that I do the same thing.
Yeah.
I do the same. I actually carry repair kits to repair another tool company's ratchets.
Sure. Yep. You do what you have to do. And if that means you win over some goodwill, do it.
Yeah. I actually, there's several things that I do. The only thing, and I tell guys, the only thing I really can't touch is anything that is actually physically engraved.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do nothing about it. But if it's not engraved and they just went and painted their name on the side or changed the background color, once it's out of this package, you don't know who it came from.
That's absolutely true.
And they spend how much more for it?
Well,
40%, 30%.
Snap-on's been having a hard time with taps and dies and drill bits because they haven't they lost I guess they had a contract with Irwin for those.
Yeah.
So I had a customer ask me if I could help them out with a broken Snap-on one. I said, I can't because they don't have them. I said, but I'll get the Irwin one for you if you want. And I don't know, it's cheap to us. It costs us like $3 a piece or something. He's a good customer. I'll eat the cost of that and just give him a replacement for free, right? So I did. And he looked at this tab. He says, this looks a lot like a Snap-on. I said, well, I said it was. I said they were being manufactured by Irwin for quite a while. And he stopped and he thought. He said to me,
I don't want to say, but a lot of that buffs out.
Yeah, it does. He says to me, do you mean to tell me I paid Snap-on prices for an Irwin tap? I said, yeah. Unfortunately, you did. Right. So that's the other part of the game too, that you might be thinking, there you go.
Drill bits.
That's all individually carded.
All in the original packaging.
Yeah. And you might think you're getting one thing because it has a particular brand on it, but you're really getting something else that you could have gotten for a lot less if you just got under the manufacturer's name.
Going independent was the best thing I ever did.
Oh, greatest.
Now the big question is, could you do this business without being a franchise first? And it would be tough.
Yeah, it would.
It would be real tough. I've known guys that have done it, but I always wonder how much they lost until they figured it out after all the mistakes were made. Now, the question is, the mistakes made, would that overcome the initial buy-in of, you can't count the truck because everybody needs a truck, but when you first start, you need their truck parameters.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you can save $5,000 there, maybe 10.
Yeah.
Okay. Then you had to buy their inventory, which I know for a fact when I went independent, my truck was empty and I had to rebuy everything.
Let's see if Mark stops freezing up on us. We may have lost Mark. While we're waiting for him to unfreeze, let's get caught up in the chat. Anthony says, Coast and Streamlight, both good in my book. I'll take either one. I like the Streamlight lanterns. Yeah, they got really good lanterns. And Daniel says, a late response, but surprisingly, Germany has almost no natural steel supply within their borders. What they do have is super low quality, so they import it from the Nordic countries. Pretty interesting. I did not know that. And Howie Z says, if you don't have Bikini Girl calendars, you are not a real tool. That's true. Unfortunately, Bikini Girl calendars have become a touchy subject, especially in corporate shops. Can't have them. And Daniel asks, why do mechanics not use quality taps? You all use the super crappy carbon steel taps for not much more money than HSS taps from companies like OSG they actually cut. It really depends on who the suppliers are, Daniel.
Sorry about that, Lindsay. I lost you for about 3 minutes.
That's all right. I'm just getting caught up on the sidebar chat. And Daniel's got a good question about the quality of taps that mechanics buy. He's wondering why a lot of stuff that we sell are carbon steel taps, that HSS taps are readily available from companies like OSG that cut better. And I just started saying that a lot of the times it's what's available to us that we have to choose from. We can't always carve out new relationships with suppliers. If they have very high minimums for us to buy from, sometimes we can't afford to buy into that. So it really depends on what's available to us and what we find has been well accepted by our consumers. It really depends. And it looks like we lost Mark again. He'll be in and out, I'm sure. Mark is practicing his mime skills. He's doing an excellent job. Ed O'Neill says, Sunex and Gray Pneumatic are by far the best value in impact sockets. Durable, affordable, lifetime warranty, and you buy single part numbers when you lose one. That is why I like this adapter set from Gray Pneumatic, because if it comes time to replacing them individually, it's easy to do. They individually part everything, and I think that their quality is fantastic. I can't say that there's really a better quality brand over another when you're talking about Sunex and Gray Pneumatic. I think their stuff is equally good. Well, it looks like Mark dropped out. Ooh, is he back? See if we can bring him back.
No, I'm back.
You're back. Good.
I'm sure I'll be doing that all day.
That's all right. It's that's good to have you. I love getting your perspective on things.
I mean,
dang it, he just came back too. Yeah, he was just getting ready. This is like in a movie when somebody's on their deathbed.
And you're back.
Oh, good. Are you still back? The treasure's in the what? The treasure's in the what? The treasure's in the... no, the treasure's in the what? And Ed says, not being able to purchase single replacement sockets is the biggest thing I look for, more so than a good warranty. I've left more sockets than I've broken. Well, that's a really good point, Ed. There's so many different aspects that you take into account in your buying habits, and that is absolutely one of them. And it's something to make sure of when you're making a purchasing decision, especially if you're offered a brand that you're not familiar with. Ask those questions. Warranty fulfillment. And it's not just from the tool trucks. Anywhere you buy this stuff from. Ask what your warranty fulfillment is like. Ask what the availability of what's called open stock, which is those individual pieces. Ask what that's like. Because some companies don't distribute open stock. They're just going to take sets. And then you're out of luck when I need that one 10 millimeter because it broke. And oh, guess what? It's not available because open stock is not provided by the manufacturer or the distributor. So not always easy to find out. Excuse me. The probably the best source of information is a knowledgeable tool guy, because we make it our business to know that. Because if I can't answer that question, it means there's a deficiency in my knowledge, and I need to make sure I make up for that somehow. So those are excellent points. Another really good point is about warranty fulfillment. What's it like depending on where you buy from? And this is a whole other topic for another time, and we should do this topic at another time. But purchasing off of Amazon, Gray Pneumatics specifically has in their warranty policy, they will not honor a warranty if you've purchased their tool from eBay or an Amazon reseller, because they don't know where it's come from. So the only way they handle warranty is through a retailer. They don't even have a process for you to send a broken socket to them for them to send you a replacement. So it's really important to understand all the aspects of buying this stuff. God knows you pay enough money for it. You really need to understand how it all works. And knowing what the fulfillment process like is critical, because that's gonna dictate whether or not you make a purchase from them in the future. Because a lot of times, you might not. If it's too much of a pain in the neck to get something taken care of under warranty, then you'll go to a different brand. So make sure you understand all those things, because there's a lot to it. It's not nearly as simple as you might think it is, unfortunately.
I'm here.
You're back. You were back. Golly, he's back again. Holy moly. How about now? Oh, there you are again.
I'm on my phone now, and we'll try that.
Okay.
We'll see if I get a better signal.
So far, so good.
Okay.
All right. So just get caught up in some of the chat stuff going on the side. Don't tell me you're out again.
And I'm back.
Okay. Well, next up on the hit parade until Mark comes back again is the Master 208-piece Sunx Bit Set. This guy's a really good seller because it has a bazillion bits in it. You can look at the picture there and see it has a lot of small 1-inch bits, a bunch of nut drivers, pile of 2-inch bits, an extension, an adapter, and it runs the gamut in standard Phillips slotted hex, Torx. There's some specialty bits in there as well. And they're all covered under lifetime warranties. The set's particularly popular because it's so comprehensive. Great one to stick in your box or your car or your truck. I carry socks. These are 6 pairs of Dickies Socks. We've been to a couple of different brands. I like the Dickies a lot because they hold up very well over time, and they are fairly inexpensive on the truck. I think this 6-pack right now is going for $20 or something. $20 for 6 pairs of socks that'll last you a good long time. I wear these myself every day. It takes a long time for them to wear thin or to get a hole in them. Here you are.
All right, well, if I cut out again, I don't think I'll be back.
That's a bummer, but I'm glad you had a chance to join us anyway. Thank you. So we'll see how long we can hang in there with you.
Yeah, well, like I said, I just changed my cell phone. I don't know if it's going to be any. I don't know why I'm getting such a lousy signal, but apparently it can't keep up with the stream.
I get you.
Yeah.
Well, we'll stay with it as long as we can. I'm just grateful that that you were able to jump on. Love your insight and your perspective. So it's always good to hear another tool guy's perspective on things.
Yeah.
We might have lost him for real this time. Well, we may have had to say goodbye to Mark, unfortunately. it's great to have him. His schedule's kind of tough, but I'm just stoked to be able to get his perspective on stuff. He's been in the tool business a long time. I think at least 20 years he's been doing it, and he's a great guy. He and I have been following each other on Facebook and Instagram for a while, and I love seeing pictures and video from his truck because it gives me ideas, and hopefully it introduces you to brands that he has too. So check out his channel. He's Mid-Atlantic Tools. Here's the half-inch drive version of that 3/8 digital torque wrench I showed you before from Gearwrench. This one goes 25 to 250 foot-pounds. Same features as the 3/8 one, but that's the one that I was saying I'm bummed out that they don't have one that goes to 300 that can compete better with the Snap-on offering, because that one is really popular because of that extra 50 foot-pounds. This is a 4-piece lady Foot Pry Bar Set. This one's from K-Tool. You can get the same set on OTC. There's a bunch of different brands that carry them, but for $55, this whole set costs less than that one short one on the Snap-on truck. For example, there's a huge price difference in some of this stuff. That's one of them. So, when you're shopping around, just look for, whatever your criteria is: country of origin, quality, price. I don't think I've ever seen a broken ladies foot pry bar. So quality seems to be pretty good across the board. I think it's really just a matter of how much you want to spend for what you're getting. And Mark, if you're listening, if you're still on, thanks again for coming on. Guys in the chat are thanking you too. It was terrific to see you. Restocking on some tool oil. That's just regular air tool oil. I'll buy whatever I get my hands on. For some reason, it's been impossible to find this stuff lately, but Ingersoll's is available. I've been carrying a Marvel oil, air tool oil for years, but that's been a back order forever. So I haven't been able to find that, unfortunately. So I'll get what I can get, and that's right now what's available. 29-piece impact socket set from Sunex. 3/8 drive. This one's got the long, the deep and the shallow, and the sizes run 8 to 22, which is a nice comprehensive set of sizes. Normally in 3/8 you only see stuff run up to 19, but they put some extra sizes in here, which I really appreciate. I like Sunex quality a lot for stuff like this. I like Sunx a lot for stuff because their prices are really good. Quality seems perfectly comparable with every other premium brand there is. I've had good luck with their stuff. Oh, one more. Oh, also restocked on butane for your soldering iron and other butane powered tools. These are the 5 and 1/8 ounce cans. The best thing these guys did was replace the cap. This plastic cap used to be a white plastic cap that was much larger and more brittle. And if I dropped one of these in the truck, one fell off the shelf and hit and shattered the cap. And now it's damaged. And even though you still get perfectly good use out of it, the fact is I want to sell stuff that's in new condition when it's on the truck. So it's tough to do that if they crack and break. I like those caps because they're not going to have the same issues the old ones did. I think that's all the tools. Pretty much. So let's get caught up in the chat. Howie Z says, I get most of my taps when I buy out machine shops. I had to learn to make my own Cosmoline. What kind of brands do you find, Howie, that are most popular with machinists? I'd be interested to hear your opinion on that and what you found. This is interesting. Anthony says he uses ATF as air tool oil. Really? I've never heard of that. Does it wear out the seals though? I thought that was one of the problems using ATF was that it could prematurely wear O-rings and seals and stuff. That's good to know, Daniel. I've always admired machinists and the work they do. Those guys just think differently than regular people. I love the way their minds work and how they can make and fix almost everything. Stare it all the way. Yeah, their stuff is top notch. They make terrific tools. I looked into being a dealer for them years ago, but I don't think I would have the business to support the buy-in that Starrett wanted. I could have gotten in, but the minimum order was thousands of dollars, and I don't have the kind of money for the customer base that I service. I think it would be great to get in with them if we're able to expand and service machinists and machine shops more. And Daniel says Starrett only makes saw blades as the only cutting tool that's still in their lineup. Very interesting. Very interesting. This is a lot of good information, guys. Thank you for bringing the knowledge to the fore on this one. This is awesome. Ton of learning today. And I'm going to be doing some more stuff on the conversation we've been having here. And I think having a live chat would probably be the best way to do it. I think that two of the conversations that went on here are particularly good regarding made in the USA stuff and all the things that you have to consider. What do you think about that? And another thing that came up in a conversation we were having last week was, how does that affect trade agreements with other countries? Like, let's say, for example, that, you know, as a society, we decided we're not going to buy any non-made in USA stuff anymore. And how does that so gravely impact our exports if other countries decide to do the same thing, right? Well, we're not going to buy any stuff made in the US. Ooh, that's hundreds of billions of dollars in imports that we can no longer send overseas to consumers. So what's that do for our economy and our manufacturing here? And you know, there's so many interconnected aspects to that. That's a great topic and a lot to talk about, because it goes far deeper than just your own loyalty to your own country and brands that you might know. It also goes to, how does it affect our standing in the world, and how does it affect our manufacturing here for the exports that we send overseas, and what's that do? What are making these decisions do for that, and how do they affect that? So there's a ton of stuff to talk about on that. I think we should also have another good conversation on buying options. You can buy stuff all kinds of places, and I know it's been coming up a lot lately, it seems, to purchase things on Amazon. And while you will save money without a doubt, I buy a lot of stuff on Amazon myself. I mean, my wife and I always buy stuff on Amazon. You just have to be sure of what you're getting. You have to understand some of the risks that you're taking based on who is actually selling it on Amazon and what happens with service after the sale and warranty and all the other aspects to that. Because like we were talking about with Gray Pneumatic and their warranty, and Milwaukee's the same way, they may put a warranty on their tools, but if you buy it on Amazon, they're not going to honor that. Or what if you have a company that says, like Gray Pneumatic, you have to go through the retailer you bought it from. Okay. Well, if I have a warranty issue, do I call the seller that I got it from on Amazon? What if there's no information on the seller page on Amazon's site about that seller? I'm out of luck. So there's a lot of things to consider. What are you getting for your money? What trade-offs are you willing to make? Because you're going to make some. It just depends on what that is and what the companies and the brands are. And Dana says, that's sort of true. Our main export as a country is the dollar. True enough. We export a lot of petroleum products. We export a lot of cars, car parts. We export a tremendous number of integrated circuits and circuit boards. So we do have commodity items that we do export. And combined, that's hundreds of billions of dollars. And that, would adversely affect our economy, I am sure, and our U.S. based manufacturing and all the people that do that today. Right. Let's see. Tech Hobby says, how should I go about correcting and forming my snap-on dealer without hurting his feelings? He kept telling me the longest half-inch locking flex ratchet snap-on makes is 18 inches, but in fact, they do a 24. I don't know if he really does not know about the 24 or he wants to push the 18 for some reason. It might be. I mean, I'm sure he knows about it, but then again, maybe he doesn't know. It would be weird if he didn't know. But if he's pushing the 18s for a reason, you may not know what that is. Maybe he overbought some. Maybe he's got I know a Snap-on guy who had a helper working with him on his truck, and his helper put in an order for I think like 18-inch 3/8 drive ratchets or something like that. Regular plain Jane ratchet. He was supposed to order 10. He fat fingered and ordered 100. So I think their price on that ratchet was $70. So all of a sudden, he was sitting on $7,000 in ratchets. He really needed to sell these ratchets. So they were in ratchet selling mode. Buy these ratchets, buy these ratchets, buy these ratchets, because they had to get rid of them because they accidentally ordered way too many, and it cost them way more than they could afford. But that was a situation they were in, and they had to get out of it. So they started pushing that ratchet. Now, I think you see that in other industries too. Restaurants certainly, push the fish. We got to get the fish sold. It's going bad, or it's going to be expired tomorrow, or whatever. Like, there's always reasons why people are pushing a particular product. I am of the mindset that I would rather not push a product on anybody. I'd rather show you what I got available, and you can make a decision based on that. Because when someone pushes a product, yes, you're right. There's something going on there. There's a reason behind the scenes that you probably don't know. And Ed asks, what's your take on toolboxes? I've had many and currently have an Extreme Tools for 5 years, decent box and price, but now I need some replacement parts and they have nothing available. Snap-on is expensive, but as a one-time catch purchase, it's starting to seem like a reasonable buy once for life, considering you can still get parts for 50-year-old boxes. I am not. Do you know what the model is, or at least what the line is of your Extreme box set? They have a DX series, an RX series, and an EX series, and depending on what line might dictate that. And who have you contacted about parts availability? They do a 5-year warranty on the boxes, so if it's still within that time frame, then they're obligated to take care of it. But if you say you've had it 4 or 5 years, if you're beyond the expiration date on the warranty, there might be another avenue there, because I can call my reps too and try to find out for you. If you can tell me if you know the model number and what the parts are that you need, I can look into that. And Anthony says, I've never had any issues using ATF as air tool oil. I learned it from a guy when I started. He also showed me how to rebuild my tools. Rebuilding air tools is not difficult at all. It is worth learning to do on your own, because you will save a bunch of money, because the parts aren't usually terribly expensive unless like you lose like the motor or the entire housing on something. That's interesting that you never had an issue with ATF as air tool oil. Good to know. That's a really good alternative. And if something happens and wears out, just rebuild it. Can't do that with the brushless tools. No, you can't. And most air tool mechanisms are fairly simple, so they're pretty easy to figure out what the problem is. My big tip to anybody who rebuilds an air tool is take the entire thing apart, every piece of it, clean the snot out of it to make sure everything is visible, and then look for damage, look for worn parts. And usually the problem becomes fairly evident. I've done some air tool repair videos in the past where I've had some struggles with a couple of them. One I simply couldn't figure out, and that bummed me out. And the other took a little bit of investigating and comparing what I had to what it should be. But still, they're fairly easy to figure out because the mechanisms are not complicated. And there's a few tricks, like there is to anything, of taking them apart and putting them back together again. But if you can figure that out, fairly easy to do. Ladies and gentlemen, Sammy Salinas Jr. has joined the chat. Sammy, how you doing, buddy? I see Sammy. Oh gosh, at least a couple of times a week, right? He works for our biggest account, and I see him frequently. I got a bum knee last week, Sammy, so I've been on the mend. I'll be back at it tomorrow, though, so I'll see you tomorrow. But they don't have a Snap-on dealer because their Snap-on dealer went out of business. And, I know over the past few years, I've seen a number of different tool guys come and go. Snap-on, Cornwell particularly, seems to have cycled through a bunch of guys in our area. Macos, seeing a bunch of guys in our area. There's now a new guy that services the same shop Sammy works at that I service. So there's a lot of changes in the tool industry. Sometimes it's tough to keep up with. And Anthony says, thanks for the info to Daniel. I've learned something. As an airport machinist, I somehow end up doing it all. Yeah, well, isn't that the case? There's your lesson in being good, Anthony. No one likes an overachiever. Hey, Marks. He says, thanks for having me on. We will do it again. Found the problem. It's this jetpack. Yeah, that's right. You've got the Verizon jetpacks like I've got as a internet hotspot, and they have a thermal shutoff when they've reached their limit. That's it. I've had a couple get so hot that the batteries actually bulged up and stopped working. So I just have to keep a spare battery around just to swap it out if that happens. But thank you so much, Mark, for being on. I really do appreciate it. Yes, let us do this again, please. There's so many good topics that we can talk about. I think it'd be great to have you on and bounce ideas off you and hear your take on things and get your perspective. You've been in the business longer than I have, so I really appreciate any time I can learn stuff from you. So thank you. And Power Stroke Jude's on board in the chat. And he says he's waiting on the ATF issue for air tool oil. What's going on, Jude? Good to see you, buddy. Well, let me do this. Let me send out some things. Bear with me. Talk amongst yourselves. Aaron, if you're still in the chat, I just saw your email. Yeah, I'll price that stuff out for you. Give me a little bit. Send out a couple of links. See if some guys want to join up. Join in the old panel here. Guys, I'm really happy that so many folks are watching and are involved in the chat. This is a lot of fun. We've had, over 60 people right now. We're still at 57 people hanging out with us. So it's been a ton of fun. A lot of good information that everyone's been sharing here. This has been great. It's a ton of fun. Let's get caught up in the chat. And Ed says, anyone can purchase and warranty Snap-on from their website directly. You will miss out on the promo prices and 15 to 20% discount a good driver gives a good customer, but at least it's available to all. Absolutely true. You'll pay a lot more, though, because you have to pay for shipping. And I had a customer who's a big fan of Snap-on, and he likes keeping all the things in his sets consistent. He had a broken, I think it was a 13 millimeter socket, or 15 or something like that, regular chrome 3/8 drive socket. And he said, I'm missing it. Can you get me one? I said, I can go on Snap-on's website and order one for you. He said, yeah, do that. I said, but here's the thing. I said, you might want to do it yourself because I'm going to have to pay tax when I buy from Snap-on. And when I sell it to him, I'm going to have to charge him tax. Plus I have to pay for shipping. He says, yeah, that's fine. Okay, but that took a $28 socket, which was already too expensive for a 15 millimeter chrome socket, and it turned it into a $50 purchase for him. Now that's going through me. If you were to buy directly from Snap-on, you pay for tax and shipping, and yes, they do sell directly. And no, they don't have promotions like that. And you can call them with a broken tool, give them a part number, and they will send you a new one. And in fact, they'll pay for your shipping back to them. They'll email you a shipping label. And some things they don't even want back, like their sockets. They won't ask you for the broken sockets back. They'll just send you a new one. But where they do want it back, they'll email you a shipping label, so they'll pay for it. So you can get very good after-sales service from Snap-on. And you should, because that's what you're paying for when you pay those kinds of prices. It's no secret to anybody that Snap-on is the most expensive tool truck there is. And there's a reason for that, and that's why. And I encourage anyone to take advantage of that because that is part of what you paid for when you purchased that tool. So thank you for bringing that up. That's an excellent point. And then it asks what happened to Monster. They got sued by the drink and went under. Yep, that's exactly what happened. They got sued by Monster Energy a couple of years ago, and Monster Tool had tried to rebrand, and they tried to change their logo and all the rest of it, and their colors. But Monster Energy said, no, that's not good enough. And it was weird because the way the suit was settled, I went to jury, and the jury awarded they found for Monster Energy. And they awarded them $5 million in, what was it? I forget how it all came out. I actually did a video on this. If you look back through my content, you'll see one about this specifically, where they were awarded a $5 million settlement, but they couldn't collect on it because of the way the jury awarded the damages. It was weird. I don't quite understand all the details there. Long and short of it, Monster won the case. But ISN, that owned Monster Tool, didn't have to pay anything. They just had to turn the brand down, which they did. So it actually gave them a chance to refocus the brand a little bit so they could get rid of some tools that were not selling quite well enough. So they turned down their air tool line and some of their other specialty tools. And then they moved a lot of the stuff over to their K-Tool brand, which they also own. So in the end, it worked out okay, I think, for everybody. Although I really did like the Monster brand. I liked the imagery, and I liked the colors, and the logo was cool. All right, just making sure I caught up in the chat. Yeah, and Jude said, I wish he wishes I knew I was on earlier. I know I messed with your schedule. Because Jude tells me every Sunday he's got a routine. My videos go up at 10 a.m. Central Time, so he catches my video as he's getting his cup of coffee and then listens to and watches some other videos. And I kind of threw a curveball by going live today. I don't know. And everyone's going to see in an upcoming tool haul video that I have. I actually put it out there if I should do this live. And then when all this stuff came in as a restocking order, I decided this would be a really good time to do it. So I kind of jumped the gun on this. So there's going to be a subsequent video where I ask if you think it's a good idea if we do this. Clearly, it's a good idea. We still got a bunch of people on the chat. So I really appreciate the participation. The conversation has been excellent. And yeah, we'll do this again live for sure. I think it's been a ton of fun. Ladies and gentlemen, clear the airwaves. We have with us from Speed Wrench Customs, Cass Nichols. Hey.
Better late than never. Hold on a second. We do my best mime impression.
I think you have better throughput than Mark had. Gosh, that was a bummer. We've been talking for so long about getting him on, and he finally.
It was so anticipated that you literally broke the internet. I
think that's what it was. Yeah.
So, what's going on? What are we doing here?
Just
what is this live stream on Sunday? What is daylight outside? I'm on the
I know it's weird.
What the hell is going on here? My body's freaking out. It's like, hey, I don't know what to do. What do we do? What do we do?
I don't know. Can you
as you can tell, I haven't made it out of bed yet today. So
that's okay. It's a Sunday.
And I may not. I may just stay here all day. So.
Stay in.
We're talking about Monster. I had to go grab one. Nothing says day off like, Monster.
Is it a true day off or are you working today?
It's a true day off.
Wow. Good for
I'm
you.
not doing anything. It's by request though. So I didn't get much of a choice on it.
Yeah.
So
do you have plans for the family?
Nope. Wife's working. So that's why I'm in the bedroom. It's not my time. I don't have a common space time right now. So my daughter's occupying it.
Okay.
So
well, good. Glad you get some time down.
Well, when you have like more than 7 people living in the house. I'm kidding. We don't have 7 people living in the house. You have to have a lot of common space time. So it's not my time. It's still daylight. I'm not expected to be at home right now. So.
Wow. And yet there you are. Hey, you want to hear something awesome?
Hit me.
We got a very special person joining us today. In addition to you, we got Power Stroke Jude. Happy Sunday.
Earlier where he's at.
I know.
Hey, what's up, man? Happy Sunday, guys.
What's going on, Jude? How you doing?
Thanks for joining us, buddy.
Oh, dude, thanks for having me. I had no idea you were going live today.
I didn't either until last night.
Man,
I'll do it.
We were at a friend of my wife's. She turned 50, so we were at a birthday party last night. So needless to say, I'm barely having my coffee at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock in the morning. Man, I'm still wearing the same hairstyle from last night too. But I was like, "Oh heck yeah, that's cool."
Yeah, because I thought about doing a live tool haul video, and then I was gonna wait on it, but I got such a ton of stuff in because I'm restocking, so I figured it'd be a good time to do it and see if it catches on. And sure enough, we've had a bunch of people have been on, so we tapped. I think we peaked at around 60, 62.
Oh, dude, that's great, man!
53 people still hanging out with us. So yeah.
Nice.
Thursday night, I think I picked out like a 70 or 71.
That was a good night.
By far the greatest night I ever had.
Yeah.
So 60 on Sunday morning, I think that's fantastic.
I thought maybe there'd be 2 people. Maybe my mom was going to be one of them. I didn't know what to expect.
I didn't get a notification on my phone, I don't think.
No?
Maybe I'm not subscribed to you. That's what it is.
You'd be about the only one.
It's okay. A lot of people aren't. But I just turned over 5,000 last night.
Oh. Yeah. Golf clap.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, about 1,000 subscribers in 2 weeks. A little over 17 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt whenever you have a video that has like 4 billion views.
I need to thank everybody while I got them live for subscribing and liking and watching the videos. You've taken the channel to another level now. So it's really nice to get some extra exposure and see the numbers grow. So thank you to everybody for participating and subscribing and liking and commenting and being involved in streams like this, because it's been very helpful.
Man, that's great to hear. I mean, I'm glad it's happening to my friends. You know, you're blowing up. Tool Demos is blowing up.
Yeah, he is.
You know, I mean, it's guys that I like. You know, that are good people, man. You guys just deserve it. You guys work hard. You put in the time, the effort. You know, and there's other people too. A lot of people their channels are growing, and good for everyone, man. I'm just gonna keep grinding. Hopefully, hit that video or hit or something.
Yeah,
I say that I haven't put out a video in a month. You know, besides that's not a short.
I've been noticing that a lot, though. A lot of channels are going to shorts in favor of their longer form videos, and it seems to be working. I mean, I don't know how YouTube looks at shorts relative to how they look at the regular videos, but clearly there's something working there for a lot of people.
Well, ever since Jude became friends with me, he stopped making videos. It must have an effect on people.
Uh-oh.
Do you know why I do shorts? Because I get to a 6, 8, 10-minute video. I've got to maybe take a couple takes, maybe 3 takes, because I try to film it all in one shot. If I screw up more than halfway in, I'm doing it over. After halfway in, you're just going to hear me talk about, oh, sorry, I screwed up, guys. But
yeah,
but they're hard videos to do for me, and you got to prepare for them. You know, I can get, you know, this pry bar right here. Put it up. Where's it? Get a new camera. You know, get this pry bar. Put it in front of the camera. Say, oh, this is a cool pry bar. I used it this morning. It was great. You know, you guys should think about getting one. And boom, that's it. I'm done. Upload it. Shorts are easy. They're lazy.
Yeah, that's true. I found that if I'm shooting a video, I can't do anything in one take. I frustrate myself. I found that, and doing shorts is a whole different ballgame for me. I just started getting into it, but it's been pretty interesting. I've been seeing a pretty good response, especially when I find something that's interesting. Like I found that snap-on ratchet from the early 1920s that I did a little short on, and I thought that was kind of fun. It was something new, different. Most of us haven't seen one in real life before. Most of us don't even know what it is.
Who owned it?
A body man. In a body shop I've been servicing for years. He was fairly new to the shop, but I knew him from years ago from a different shop. And I don't even know how we got in the conversation. He opened up the top drawer of his box. And I said, "Oh, take a look at this." And he pulls out this ancient an ancient snap-on ratchet. I'm like, "That's pretty cool." It was a regular ratchet. It was, you know, it's old, but it's still a conventional design to a ratchet, right? And he says, "Yeah, but how about this one?" And then he pulls out the one that he did that short on. I'm like, the only reason I recognized that, the only reason was because just the previous week, I was researching some stuff for another video subject I'm going to do later. And I was on Snap-on's website. And as I'm reading their about page, they talked about some of their initial inventions and their patents. And one of them was the interchangeable socket wrench, where they had a handle and then a socket that you could snap on and off the wrench, thus their company name. And then they invented this ratcheting bit that you could stick the handle for the ratchet on and then the socket on the other, and now you could ratchet it. And they had a picture from like an old print ad from the 20s. That is the only reason I knew what that was when I saw it. And it was only like the previous week. It was weird how all this kind of came together. I was shocked that he had one, because the thing's 100 years old. Still works. Spring still works. I mean, the thing is, it functioned perfectly.
They got warranty on it.
They should.
You can ask them for a receipt.
That would be hilarious. Hey, I got this tool. I got a number 6 ratchet. It broke.
That's funny.
Wow. I would bet. In fact, you and I were talking about something similar. I said I would bet Snap-on would love to know that he has one.
Oh, I'm sure that'd be cool, man.
Just the history alone.
Is there an old? I mean, you might know. You know, they have the Football Hall of Fame and Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Is there like an old tool Hall of Fame or tool museum somewhere that just?
I don't know. There should be.
In about 100 years, there will be. It'll be, right here in Austin.
Yeah. They're gonna tour your shop.
Who are we kidding? My kids are gonna pawn all that stuff whenever I die. I told you I'm being buried with it.
Hey, just dig a big enough hole. A little fit.
There you go.
Right. Let's get caught up on the
Saving it with
chat because there's been a bunch of things going on the sidebar. Tech Hobby says both of my guests have great hair for just waking up in the morning. My hair looks like an electrocuted mop. You guys are rocking the hairdo styles today, so congratulations. You're taking it to a whole new level.
Dude's got way better hair than I do, so
don't sell yourself short.
It's bought, dude. It's a pomade product. It'll make anything look groomed. Just
are you on your new camera too?
You don't bump into someone with them. You're going to break their arm, man. It gets hard.
Are you using a new camera, Jude? Because it looks really good.
Does it? Oh, good. Yes,
yeah.
I am. And I there was a part of my camera that I did not know how to attach it, and I just finally broke out the instructions and looked at it, and I was like, oh, duh, and I put it on, and now over the lens, there's a screen that pops up, so it blocks off, I guess, light coming in from behind it, so I was hoping that helped.
Oh, wait. Hey.
No, it looks really good. Good lighting, good clear picture quality.
Cool.
Oh, thanks, Hal. I appreciate that, buddy. Yeah, it's been a while making videos to get to 5,000. It's funny when you start making videos on YouTube, depending on what your goals are. My goal was always to have it be a legitimate part of the business so I could, make some money on it. And it's not easy when you're first going. You're trying to find your way. You're trying to find what kind of content works. And it gets discouraging sometimes. So it's kind of cool, 3.5 years in now to turn 5,000 subs.
So does this mean no more plier fights or?
I can't promise that. No, there's just going to be tool fights. I'll never say no to that.
You've been doing it 3.5 years, Lindsay?
3.5, yeah. No, yeah, in fact, my first video was my first subscriber, January 1st, 2019. Yep, as I think my first video was on December 27th of 2018. So my first subscriber, New Year's Day. It was probably my mom or my wife, but that's when it happened. Yeah.
My first subscriber was like about 3 months before I ever made content, because I was commenting on someone's video saying, "Man, I'm thinking about doing a channel, but it's just a little nerve-wracking." And he commented back, said, "Well, I'm your first subscriber, and I'm looking forward to some content."
Nice.
About 3 months later, I started making videos.
That's very cool. Now let's get caught up in some chat discussion here. Should we just consider Craftsman Lowe's as being completely done? Nothing's made the same. My 3 generations of inherited tools is going to be it, with no hopes for any repairs or replacements. I know quality has been an issue. I know that the number one complaint I have been hearing from folks about their stuff is the quality has been going down. I suspect that the quality of the alloys they're using is lower now than it was years ago. I think the tools are softer. Wrenches tend to spread more, or handles tend to bend more, and I don't think you get the same performance. In a lot of those instances, as far as their warranty policies go, I don't know. It really depends on what the individual company's willing to do. Now, Cass or Jude, you got any experience with those particular brands?
Craftsman, I mean, that was the first set of tools I ever had, but it was they were all made in the USA back then.
Yeah. And
I rocked them for a while. I guess I would say I got that set in the early 90s, because that's when I graduated high school. I went to trade school. That's where I got them, at trade school. And then I rocked them. I got me a Craftsman 3-tiered box, the one you see directly over that shoulder.
Mm.
My mom bought me that Craftsman 3-tiered box, and I rocked it for 10 years like that. I was buying some stuff, as I was moving along, to the point where now I don't think I have very many Craftsmen, if any Craftsmen at all, in my like daily circle. But I'm hoping that when they start getting manufactured back in Texas, that helps with the quality, that helps with the warranties. But experience now, I've never even tried to warranty anything at Lowe's. How about you guys?
No, I haven't used my Craftsman stuff in forever. Because
Yeah.
even here at the house, I always just go to my mobile setup and just grab stuff out of that. My Craftsman stuff's almost like my tool hall of fame. I just have like several like old retired tools out of my box, and most of my Craftsman is still there. So just have that. And I bought some new Craftsman from Sears right before they closed, and I didn't like it. So
I have
cheap.
one Lowe's Craftsman ratchet. Looks nice. It works all right, but not the same.
Yeah. Well, and then so I'm probably gonna piss in somebody's cereal right now, but I found that the Gearwrench was a good replacement for Craftsman, even though it's made in China. I thought it was a better replacement for Craftsman. Whenever Craftsman started to switch over to Chinese tools or Taiwanese tools, so I just went with that. So we rock the Sunex and Gearwrench in the mobile setup, and then at the shop, everybody's seeing my other stuff. So
yeah. I met an old-time retired machinist who told me that over the years he would test the hardness of different brands of tools to see how they've been changing. And, it's a steady decline on a lot of the lesser brands. And he said Craftsman specifically, he saw was using softer and softer metals with poorer and poorer alloys, because all chrome vanadium is not the same depending on what they put in there. If there's impurities that get in there or whatever, or what they use for, they're using ore, or are they just recycling older materials? And he said it's really a shame what happened to the quality, because he saw it, because he could measure it, and as a result, you see performance differences too, and that ultimately affects people's buying decisions. And it's fine for certain applications, but not if it's not really pro grade if you're going to be using it every day and banging on it every day.
Yeah, even when they were, I would say in the mid 2010s, they had like their last hurrah. Their Craftsman hardline was probably more for homeowners, and they came out with what they call Craftsman Professional. I think you remember those guys.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
And those were actually really decent tools that you could use in a shop. The price went up a little bit compared to their other wrenches and the other stuff, but if they could go back to that quality, I think they'd have a shot at least competing with the mid-tier stuff. The Capris, the Tectons. I don't know if they get back up to Gearwrench and all the rest of those big brands, but
I would hope so. I think that the brand it's too good a name.
absolutely.
You just hate to see a great name like that go the way they've been going. And all of us have either owned, or our dads have owned, or our grandfathers have owned Craftsman tools, and it's such a great American brand. It really hurt me to see not only what happened to Sears in general, but what happened to the Craftsman brand, because Craftsman was purchased by Stanley. So Stanley Black & Decker owns them. And I was hoping back in the days when I was a Mac dealer that we'd be able to get some Craftsman stuff on the trucks, or at least be able to help out customers with Craftsman warranties. But they wanted to keep those two lines separate and distinct.
Yeah,
So,
you'd figure like the expert line, they could just dump that and just have the Craftsman line.
why not? Right? But they didn't.
And they'd have everybody flocking there. But who knows? I don't know. Hopefully they'll.
If they did that with Mac of expert, that would be fantastic.
Hopefully when they go back online here in Dallas, or I think it's in Dallas, I think it's where the plant's going to be, that the quality picks up, and they go back to something close to what they used to be. That'd be great. I'd probably be a fan then. So
My inclination is to think that it wouldn't take them much to win back a bunch of people and build a larger customer base if they were just to change a few things.
Yeah.
Because how many people you think are like us? You know, they're all like, we're talking about them right now, saying what a good name it is. You know, that our dads and grandfathers all had them. That we wish the quality was better. So I mean, that's just 3 people on a panel talking, and probably 60 people in the chat thinking the same thing. You know, just think if they worked with that and they said, you know, a lot of people want us to just up our quality, you know, start making stuff again in the USA. So they could probably build up really quick.
I bet it wouldn't take a lot, you know, from that perspective. I mean, it takes a lot to tool up and build. I don't know what their plans are for building in Texas, because Stanley has a Dallas manufacturing facility. So I don't know what it would take if they're just going to be rebranding current products under the Craftsman name, or are they going to start making a new line of Craftsman products? I have no idea. But if they were to do that, hopefully they can bring some quality back into it, because actually here Dan Bearhart says, honestly, all the brands under Stanley are going downhill. They own a lot of brands. I think they're, if I'm not mistaken, they might be the world's largest tool company, if I'm not mistaken. I know they are in North America anyway, because they own a bazillion brands. And that's a shame, because you know you could rely on those brands years ago, but it's changed a lot. You know, where I don't think that they're. I think they rely a lot on the other brands that they own. I don't know about their own manufacturing so much anymore. As far as I knew, they made some of the Mac hand tools, like their sockets and stuff, in their Dallas factory. But I never knew all the stuff that came out of that factory.
I'm still trying to get a tour of it. I've been,
That'd be fun.
you know, beating up my Mac guy to talk to his people. We know my Mac guy's not watching, so Kyle, you know, you need to get off your ass and give me a tour of the Dallas plant.
Hopefully he is watching. Now we can publicly shame him into getting you a tour.
No, I'm almost gonna promise you he's probably still asleep right now. Like I would be willing to put money on it right now. No, Kyle's a good dude. But
yeah, he is.
See, Lindsay knows all my tool dealers. Do you know the Cornwall guy that goes out in our area?
Actually, no, I don't know him. And I haven't met the new Snap-on guy.
Oh, okay, yeah. The one that took Tim's old route?
Yeah, I don't know him.
Yeah. Oh, actually, no. He's the guy that replaced the guy. That's what it was.
Yes.
I think I met him one time. But he's got like half a Dripping Springs, and then Mike's got the other half of Dripping Springs. We're all talking names. Everybody's like, who the hell are these people? Yeah.
Yep.
So
let's get caught up in the chat. There's some interesting points being made. Howie Z says, if someone would buy Craftsman in the U.S. and use Spain steel, Craftsman could come back. I'd love to see what the future holds for them. And Brandon Modern says a new Craftsman V series is similar to Mac stuff, like the V series wrenches are precision torque, and they have RBRT stuff in Craftsman V series. Lots of Facom stuff. Yeah, they're a good mix and match from a bunch of different brands, and those are all Stanley brands. Now this is interesting, Howie, that you say this. The Japanese tools are better because they get their steel from Spain. That's interesting, because I know some very good steel also comes out of Japan. So that's interesting to me. Sammy Salinas. Good. I'm glad you didn't go anywhere. Craftsman's as well known as Snap-on is. That's probably true. I would never
agree with that.
Yeah. It's his first tool set. He still has them today as his backup set.
you know that I didn't buy a lot of my Craftsman from Sears. I bought most from Western Auto, because they were a Craftsman dealer. And that was probably the same price, but we had a Western Auto that was like 2 miles from here. It was way easier to get to than
going to Sears.
Yeah, Sears. The Sears you had to go to the mall, and that's kind of a hike. So, especially when you're on foot.
House tape at?
especially when you're on foot trying to get tools to fix
Pat, how are
your
you,
ride.
Good Sunday.
Yeah. And Dan Bearhart asks about opinions on Wright tools or Ingersoll battery tools. Wright is an outstanding brand. They make very high quality stuff. I would put them on par with all the top tier premium brands. They actually have outperformed other brands in some testing videos that I have watched, where they've come out on top of Mako and Snap-on for things like wrench quality and things. They use some outstanding quality alloys. They're made in the U.S. and you pay for that. They are extremely expensive, but if you can find good deals somewhere, I would absolutely jump on them, because I think Wright is absolutely a great brand, and they make great products.
Jude, doesn't James buy a ton of Wright tools?
He does. I believe he's actually, I don't know if the word is sponsored or has they send him stuff to review or they give him stuff. I don't know how it works, but I know he's got something going on with Wright, and he likes them a lot.
But if anybody can find a deal on Wright tools, you can check out Midwest Tool Review. So you can find
Midwest
deals.
Tool, check him out. He's got a good channel. That's what his Midwest Tool Review.
If I knew how to put a link in the chat, I'd do it, but I'm not your guy on that stuff. So.
And Dan also asked about the Ingersoll battery tools. I have not seen a lot of those in circulation. I know they have a 20-volt ratchet, which is surprising to me. But they're, as far as I know, their quality is very good. They're kind of pricey from what I've seen, and I've never seen them get the foothold in the cordless market that other brands like Milwaukee and Snap-on have.
My our tech at our shop, he's a old school generation DD. I mean, he's 65 years old, so I mean he comes from back in carburation days and all that, but he's a small guy. Well, anyway, that's not the point. The point is that he has a half-inch drive Ingersoll Rand battery operated impact wrench, and he uses it all day whenever he needs it, and it seems to hold up. I was actually gonna do a video with his Ingersoll Rand, with Blaine's Milwaukee, and with my Snap-on, but I haven't done that yet. That
would be cool.
Unless he's got a Matco impact on his truck, unless he sold it since the last time I talked to him.
I have not yet
sold it. And like from what's that?
I have not yet sold it.
You're gonna have a problem selling it.
I don't think so. Someone will buy that.
Lindsay,
that's very good for a new guy getting in the field who's looking to get some cordless stuff.
Can you go to Doug Gilman's comment right under with Pat said hello?
Where is he?
Yeah, Doug, that's pretty cool that you're talking about that, because not 2 or 3 weeks ago, I did a short on my channel about the Ward's quality tools, I think is what they were called. It was a double box and offset wrench, and I was talking about these things are hard to find now, but it's cool that you have a whole set of wrenches. That's very cool, man.
I think that Montgomery Ward's tools actually got bought up by Stanley back in the day, if I'm not mistaken.
I know my buddy's got a set of Pencraft. It's the J.C. Penney line of tools. He has a 1/4-inch socket set.
I think I have some Montgomery Ward screwdrivers out in the garage. I gotta go look for them and see. They're in one of my storage bins, but they definitely, I didn't buy them. I definitely got them from probably my dad, because he always offloads stuff all the time. Like, I'm not gonna need these anymore. You can have them. I'm like, oh, thanks.
Hold the phone, ladies. Clear the air. We're being rejoined by Mark. Mid Atlantic School.
What's going on, Mark? How's it going?
My hotspot's wrapped in a cooler. So we'll see what happens. But it is hot on this truck, let me tell you.
Well,
hey,
I'm
Mark.
glad you're back.
How are you, Mark?
It's like 97 on the truck.
Ooh.
How you doing? How you doing?
Oh, doing
Cass,
well, man. It's good to meet
Mark.
you. Like, I know this isn't really face to face, but it's kind of face to face.
Close enough.
Yeah. How'd you like that tool stream on? I know
It was very good.
I wanted you on, man. It's just you told me it was too late, so I wish. I'll try to do it
early, and I go to bed. I go to bed early.
I'm going to try to do the next one on a Saturday and try to do it a little bit earlier, so that way you can join.
As long as I stay awake, that's the problem. I mean, if you don't mind streaming, all of a sudden you see me in the corner sleeping, I'm okay with that.
You won't be the first one, Mark.
That wouldn't be the first time that's happened on the stream, I'll tell you. Hey, boom, 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 boom.
Ed, the old tech guy, $2 super chat. Thank you, Ed. Appreciate that, pal.
What's up, Ed? 97 on the truck, man. It's got to be about close to 90 in my garage. It's not.
And let me tell you, that's in Jersey, and I live by the shore.
It's a tough 97 degrees in Jersey.
Yes. Well, you know how these Gearwrench, somebody came up with a black wrap. Let's make it black.
Yeah, why not? Heat? Who cares?
It's so hot inside my house right now. What do you think the temperature is, Shelly? It's probably 74 in here right now. It's just stifling.
Yeah. We always it's 70.
There's a door like 10 feet to my left. If I walk through it, it'd be, like you said, a nice crisp 70 something, 71, 72 degrees, 75 degrees.
I don't have to worry about that. Next week I'll be starting tomorrow morning. It'll be 100 by 9 a.m. So
yeah, next week's daytime low is gonna be like 104. So get ready.
That's 109 in his truck last week. Woo.
I won't work.
Golly.
How's business, Mark?
What's that?
How's business?
It's all good. It's all good.
I've watched all your videos, man. When I found out that you had your channel, I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna go check out some of his videos. And I saw you didn't have too many up, which is cool because I think I'm like
13 or 14 videos now, and I have 600 subscribers.
And
I saw that, yeah.
So I don't know what the hell, because I think they all suck. You know, they say your first 30 to 50 suck. Well, they got that right so far. I don't know what the hell I'm doing half the time.
No, your top.
You're doing a good job, though.
Videos are good, man. Those are real helpful to people. When you tell people the tools that you sold to entry level techs, entry level techs watch those videos and they're like, oh man, if people are buying those, I'll probably need them. Those are real helpful videos.
And it's helpful to, other tool guys too. I derive a lot of benefit from seeing what other guys are carrying on their trucks. And when they talk about their experiences with it too. So it's just good information all around.
Yeah.
I'm still working, so got to put up with me.
So keep at it, man. Let's get caught up on some chat stuff. Brandon Modern says he misses Sears.
Me too.
And how a moment of silence for Sears. That whole thing ticked me off because the guy who was either the CEO and the president, I think he was, and he also owned like a finance company, and he's doing some weird stuff where he's using one company to fund the other company, and the employees hated him and just drove the whole Sears brand into the ground, and that was a shame.
My favorite thing to buy from Sears was the Christmas decorations after Christmas. Their discount on decorations was like unheard of. I mean, we got some seriously nice stuff.
They put everything on the islands right when you walk in. I mean, it looked like old Christmas right there, and it just slowly deplete. But their stuff was dirt cheap, man.
Yeah, it was like pennies on the dollar. Just like, yes, I'll buy everything here.
My favorite time of year is when we get to the Sears Christmas wish book catalog.
The wish book.
That was awesome. There was nothing better. I would wear those pieces out flipping the thing.
The Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition was probably better than that. We'll go ahead on limb.
I was 8 years old.
I don't know. The lingerie section of the Sears catalog, pretty racy.
When you're 8 years old.
I'm not ashamed to say, even by my standards today, it's still pretty good. ATK says good tools are not the biggest problem in my area is finding employees. There seems to be no new guys growing up with any work ethic. They all think they're worth $140K a year on day one, entitled and lazy. I think you will find a lot of people who feel the same thing, and it's a common conversational topic I get into with shop owners and managers, and even guys who are just looking for colleagues to come in. It's a problem I've been having trying to hire people. I'm sure you guys have seen it in your shops.
Well, I'm waiting for the when they go through with the college where they don't have to pay it back anymore. What do they call that?
Oh.
Yeah, I forget what they're calling it.
The college tuition.
Yeah, so you don't have to pay it back.
Program.
So I can call and ask for my new truck because I started a business. I didn't go to college.
Right.
Somebody owes me a truck. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, why doesn't it work that way? I don't. I had a very interesting conversation with somebody when I was saying how difficult it was to hire somebody to work on my other trucks. And he said, "Well, what are you paying?" And I said, "What it should work out to is between a base salary and a commission." I said, between $20 and $25 an hour, to start. And he said, "You're not going to find anyone with those slave wages." And I said, "I don't think you understand what the word slave means. If that's what you're thinking, that a $40,000 to $50,000 a year job that you can walk into without needing experience is considered a slave wage. If that perception is shared by a lot of people, then we're doomed."
Yeah.
The whole deal is people look at like that as like that's all you're ever going to make. That's what you're starting at. Right. And depending on how motivated you are, you make more from there. It's just how much are you willing to put into it? Like that's what it gets back. It's not, because the whole deal is, say you go in there and you start off and you figure it out, and then all of a sudden you're just like cashing in sales or you're collecting, right? I mean, you make your money when you collect, but you're bringing in all this money. You're going to make more money. Otherwise, you're not going to be there very long because you could go and do what you're doing, right? So, I mean, like, everybody knows that. I mean, like, that's part of business. It's like, the guys in the shop, like right now I got 2 guys working for me, and, I pay them well, like, not just okay, I pay them really well. So, but I reward them, but I also have, high standards. So
sure. And you need them.
I kind of got a little off.
Sorry about that.
Sorry.
What was that, Mark?
I said, what's your big sale this week? You were doing your inventory. What do you got?
I have some sales have been down, so I haven't had much in the way of special orders to fulfill. So just about everything I showed was restock, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's nice.
It'd be nice to introduce those K-Tool creepers, where we could save a bunch of money off the Lyle ones. It's always good to get the Gearwrench digital torque wrenches back on the shelves. Those go in and out of back order all the time, but I'm getting those now.
Yeah.
I saw some pliers that might belong to somebody in the panel.
I don't know.
I got a real big sale coming up. I'll show you what
it is. Yeah, what do you got?
I got a big sale coming up. Very cheap. What these are, snow brooms. So you can wipe the snow off your car. So they're on sale this week.
Just what you need in New Jersey, middle of July.
Just what you need, man. I got it. Hey, thanks, brother. Appreciate it. All right. Well, next got here. Let's see what we got. Something else came in.
Well, it's like, don't buy your leak detector kits in the summer. Buy them in the winter. I was reading through the chat here to see if we can get caught up on stuff.
We got a needle scaler, Who needs a needle scale? They're on sale.
How many of those have you ever sold?
I don't know,
This
probably
one.
a dozen.
Yeah.
But this one here, I'm just going to throw in stock. Remember what we were saying before? I just order stuff and I'll put it on the shelf.
Don Gilliam asked the preference. If you guys prefer DeWalt over Milwaukee or vice versa, boy, that's an ongoing, never-ending conversation. I think it really depends on where you find your value. I think both are top quality. It really comes down to cost and warranty and ease of warranty fulfillment and buying into a battery platform. What do you guys think?
Well, I'm a idiot. I buy everything. I mean, like, I literally. Lindsay knows. He sees it.
I buy a lot of stuff, but when it comes to battery lineup, I only have an old Craftsman setup, but besides those which were my first ones I ever got. Besides those, I've only got a DeWalt and Snap-on. I did a poll on my community page Thursday or Friday, and it got about 100 votes. I said DeWalt, Milwaukee, or other, and I think that poll was like 45, 40, and whatever the balance is. Something like that. It was real close. Milwaukee was on top, then DeWalt, then other.
Just to let you know, I'm selling off a bunch of my DeWalt stuff this week.
Really?
Yep. I already talked to the man to my, depending on how y'all looking at it, my left or right. The guy next to me. I'm going to put on his truck on consignment. So
I'm sure there's a Monday customer. I'm sure that'll buy them.
You want me to bring them over today or what?
No.
The only thing, so I like the driver. The DeWalt driver's fine, and I like the Sawzall, but I bought like the little mini saw and then I have like the grinder, and the grinder is like it's the most cumbersome thing I've ever used. Like, like maybe the lightsaber from Ghostbusters might be a little less cumbersome, but and a little less technical to use. But you have to literally, if you're grinding something, it has to be like fixed to something that's not moving. Otherwise, it's gonna bounce all over the place. So, but on review though, the carbide bits that I bought from Lindsay, the Astronomatic carbide bits I bought from Lindsay, were fantastic. They were great.
Oh, good. Yeah, they're tough to beat.
You know what I learned? What I learned from Lindsay about those bits, and I've seen it on multiple videos. Good tip. I'm going to point it out to the crowd who haven't seen those videos yet.
All right.
Go ahead.
So my internet must be heating up again.
Okay.
All right, Mark.
All right. That sucks.
Yep, we'll see you soon.
What I had learned was that if you get the Mac Code carbide bits, you get one more bit, but it's way like double the price, and all you're doing is paying for the warranty in advance. Correct?
Pretty much. Yep.
I looked at that. I said, that's true, man. What if you use your tools right? What if you don't break one? Is it really worth it? $200?
It's like you're paying for it. It's an insurance policy is a way to look at it. You need insurance, but what if you never, you need homeowners insurance, but what if you never have a problem with your house? What do you have health insurance? What if you don't have to see the doctor? Your car insurance, what if you don't get in a crash? It's kind of the same thing. It really depends on what the replacement costs would be and if you think it's worth it. Because I think the quality is pretty similar between the different brands. I've seen testing videos on stuff too that people do. I don't, and I haven't seen a huge difference. I think it's all how you use them. And if you use them properly, then generally speaking, you're not going to have a problem. But if you do, it's not that expensive to replace individual ones.
We had a kid interview and asked for 30 plus an hour and 4 weeks vacation.
You got to
Hey,
ask.
Jude, you're
huh?
not allowed to talk about my my request there.
I guess you got to ask. And then there's here's all right. Well, let me ask your opinion on this. When people say, "Hey, man, it can't hurt to ask," oh, yes, it can. I think it absolutely hurts to ask because that, as a potential employer, that gives you a whole perspective on somebody. That's my opinion, anyway. Well, what do you guys think?
Yeah, it would probably be. I would probably, after I got done laughing, they may get an answer out of me. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. But it'd be amusing, but not like good amusing.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the way I would handle it, I'm like, it's easy because like I just poached all the people that work with me, so I literally was like, hey, you want to come make more money working for me on the side? And they're like, sure. It's true.
Yeah, it is true.
But I just you gotta have some experience before I'll go and give you a bunch of money. Like you may start out at pretty low wages, but
I think most people will. You got to work your way up. I think that's lost on a lot of people. Like,
you
go
gotta
fix
kind
it.
of earn your stripes. So I wouldn't give somebody an unreasonable amount of money. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't go and pay somebody minimum wage to come work. You
Oh,
got
right.
to figure it out. And then you give them 90 days, and then in 90 days, if they look like they're gonna work out, then you bump them up to the regular rate, of which, I mean, maybe you take a median of all the people that are working the shop to get a big shop. Maybe you find a number that's suitable. I mean, like as when you own business, you kind of know like what your salary can't exceed, or what your when you're billing per hour, like what it can't exceed. Otherwise, it'll start kind of other things. So
My boss recently hired a guy in the shop that we found out was barely entry level. But he came in saying that he was, a qualified skill tech. Couldn't use the alignment machine. Couldn't use a brake lathe. I don't know. Every single multi-point inspection that he did, and he was there 4 months before he quit. But every single multi-point inspection, front and rear brakes were a quarter. I mean, that's kind of odd. But I mean, the dude talked a big game, but he was horrible. And my boss was paying him almost as much as he was paying our lead tech, and almost as much as he was paying our senior master guy. And I was just like, man, dude, this isn't working out. They have to stop what they're doing to help him with every single job. And then on top of that, half the time he wouldn't ask for help. He was the guy that would be looking at the truck. You'd be working on a truck, he'd be working on a stall, two stalls over, and you hear something, a big loud clank, and then and damn, and he'd keep doing that until you came over and said, hey man, you okay? You need a hand? Because he wanted you to come offer rather than him come ask for help. So yeah, that 30 day, that 90-day thing is perfect, man, because if you
no, for sure. I mean, because if you hire somebody in a probationary status for 90 days and they're not going to work out, or maybe it gives you time to kind of gauge what their value is at the time whenever you're hiring them, then it's a big deal. But if you have somebody that comes in and you're paying them top wages right away, you don't know anything about them, they could suck really bad, and it's going to take you 90 days to get rid of them. And so are they worth it? But at least with commission, what you have is you have your weekly guarantee and then your commission hours on top of it. And so at least they have to earn what they earn. But you don't want to be paying them $35 an hour commission, or flag hour to throw brakes at a car or fire parts at it. So
flat rate isn't straight hours flagged anymore, huh? It's like you get a set commission plus anything beyond so many hours, you get an hourly rate or something like that. How's that work?
Well, no. So the way I do it is I get I have a guarantee. Like I have like X amount of dollars that I'm going to make a day, guaranteed by the shop, and then everything over that, like I get commission on top of that.
Oh,
So,
okay. You get
so,
commission
I mean-
on parts too?
what's that?
You get commission on parts?
No,
No.
just labor. Shit, I wish on parts. That'd be great, dude. That'd rolled into money. But when I work for myself, I don't really, like how I make money is kind of tricky because you got to figure out after all the bills are paid, do I get paid? So Lindsay knows all about that. But
Oh, yeah.
Jude, you were in business for yourself. You know that. So
Yeah. The shop's
But-
got to get paid first, man. Otherwise, you don't got a shop.
yeah.
right.
So but no, when I work, I always the only thing is when I'm running my business, I don't get a guarantee. I just pay myself commission. But at my regular job, I get a guarantee and then I get commission on top of that. So, but the guarantee's not like I'm not going to survive off that every week. You know what I mean? Like you're not gonna live off what they give you. So it motivates you to do that. But I was thinking about different ways because we're about to expand into a larger business here pretty soon. I was thinking about ways of how to pay, a shop foreman that's not going to go and hurt his bottom line because shop foreman's obviously he's going to have to help people in the shop, right? He's not just going to be able to work and earn, and you have to figure out a way to keep him motivated and keep the shop production up, but also you need somebody out there that can fix any problem, go help any of the guys, and if he doesn't know how to do something, at least he can go and
Look it up.
find somebody or find a way to do it, right?
Find procedures.
Yeah.
Look something up, right?
But when you have somebody like that, you can't let go. You have to keep them there. I mean, like they're too valuable. So I've been thinking about ways to do it. And so I'm working on that right now. But I think I got a pretty good idea going. So I don't want to dump it out here and have everybody shit on it just yet. So
I was talking to my boss when he was talking about getting another shop that's like around the block from us, so we can have like a truck shop too. And he was trying to grow, and I'm like, man, you're gonna need a shop foreman. And he's like, oh, I'm gonna be the shop foreman. And I said, all right, do whatever. I'm all just let me know when it's gonna happen so I can put in my notice. Because if you're the shop foreman, it's not gonna work. You don't know a damn thing about working on anything, and you think you're just gonna walk over and tell people. His idea of being a shop foreman is if he sees a tech on his phone to tell him to get back to work. That's what he thinks a shop foreman is. So he's gonna if that ever happens for him, he's gonna be in for a rude awakening.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've run into a similar experience with a shop foreman, and it's hard to listen to the shop foreman when he's just when it's like BS, like when it's. I'm trying not to throw this guy under the bus too bad, but I'm about to. And he's a good customer of Lindsay's. I hate doing it, but the guy just doesn't deserve to be a shop foreman. He's this shop foreman in name only, but when it comes to helping other techs in the shop, he doesn't do it. He just he always says that's not my job. I'm like, no, it is your job. You need to get off your ass and you need to go help them. I shouldn't be dropping what I'm doing to go help the guys. It's just one of those things. It gets old quick. I don't mind helping people, but when you're on commission, like helping them with the same thing every time, like I shouldn't have to go help a guy diagnose a bad starter.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't mind going and like turning the key, so he can go and check and see if the start wire's got power going to it. But I shouldn't be the one over there doing it for him, every time. That falls into the shop foreman's job there. I'm not the shop foreman. So. But then again, whenever I'm working for myself, I'm the one that does all the diagnostics. I do 100% of it, and then I let the guys do the work, and then all I play is quality control with them, like Robert and Daniel. And
so you diagnose and then you distribute the work accordingly.
Yeah, but I'm not. It's not my full-time job right now yet. I'm still, 3/4 time on that one. So. But like when we're at the fit shop,
diagnosing. I would take that gig if I was just diagnosing stuff.
Well, here's the deal, because I got to go and sell it to a customer too, but it's also like quality control. If you like I tell Robert and Daniel, I don't really care because Daniel's a young kid and he'll do whatever you tell him. But and he's learning, so he doesn't get he didn't get offended by it. But like what I tell Robert, I'm like, I'm not trying to one up you or be micromanage you. What I'm trying to do is make sure that we get it right the first time, and having 2 sets of eyes on something is always better than 1 set,
100%.
And like whenever we get done, I'll test drive with the cars. I'll bring them back. We'll check it and go over it one more time. And I go, it seems excessive, but you know what? When it leaves and it doesn't come back, that's the most important thing. Getting cars out fast is not the most important thing, because if it comes back, number one, you look like the biggest horse's ass in the world, or at least you feel like it. And you don't want customers to have to go like, hey, car's still leaking oil. Like obviously we didn't do our job right. So that's why I always like to.
I what you're talking about, Cass, I actually put, now I'm going to dinosaur myself, but when I would leave a dealership, if I wanted to go to another dealership, I'm filling out an application, with the pen, not on the computer, but on usually there's a section on the bottom that says, give us any other qualifications, skills, or, certifications you might have that can help you with this job. And I always put that I take pride in fixing the vehicle right the first time, so the customer's happy and doesn't have to come back with the same concern. I always write that in my application.
No, that's good. No, I just, like I said, you're not going to turn as many hours, but you're not going to have as many comebacks more times than not. So, it's just being thorough,
But you are going to get that customer's business for the next concern. Whereas if you have to bring it in 3 times for an oil leak, you're probably not going to get it when it needs a starter.
Yeah. Or, like when you do those blanket repairs,
Oh, yeah.
I hate when guys do that. So when I worked at Lloyd's, we had a guy that worked there with us, and he would use Identifix all the time, but he would post on Identifix. I never post on Identifix, but I like using Identifix as like a second set of eyes, I just look and see what other guys are seeing and just make sure there's nothing like, go to this spot, check this wire, you should find the brake, I'm just getting a little out there, but anyways, so this guy posts on Identifix, and I don't mind throwing Lloyd's under the bus because they're closed now, so I don't really care. But he goes and he does a post on there like it was on a Triton V8, and he goes, replaced 8 coils, 8 plugs, 8 injectors, the computer. I'm like, hey, don't ever put that on Identifix again. Oh yeah, I was like, yeah, don't ever put that on Identifix again. Don't ever tell anybody that shit again.
For everyone in the chat, if you didn't know what a blanket repair means, it's like what Cass was talking about, is you throw in a blanket over, you're covering it all. You can't miss it. Covering everying. Anything that leaks oil, you're replacing. Anything that
it's original to the vehicle.
Yeah. Yeah, you're covering it. You're covering it all.
Yeah, if a guy comes up to you and tries to sell you work based on it's original to the vehicle, you might want to worry about that one just a little bit. Like if you're driving a 20-year-old car and you got the original tires on there, maybe you replace those because they're original to the vehicle.
Well, let's get caught up in the fun a little bit. There's some good comments that we're talking about. Let's Go Fix It says, when I was younger, my dad worked at a junkyard for minimum wage and was just happy to have a job in an area where there wasn't a lot of work. I think that having so many employment options is absolutely hindering the development of a lot of industries. And I think it's why a lot of industries have taken a step back, because they can no longer find people when you have so many options open to you. You can easily think mistakenly that something's beneath you or something is worth it because you're going to make a lot of money or whatever the case is. And I think that absolutely affects people's ability to hire folks. Too many options nowadays.
Agreed.
Anyone have any opinions on Baco since they've been purchased by Snap-on? I don't know. Do they? Does Baco? I believe they brand stuff for Snap-on now, as well as selling their own brand. I'm not sure.
You'd have to show me this specific tool. Wrenches. Oh, okay, yeah. If those are is Baco from Spain?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've got those adjustable wrenches. I like them. They're good.
They're a good set.
And then Don Gilliam asks, what do you guys try to limit your customers to in your truck accounts? I'm sorry if that was asked when Mark was still on the panel. Everyone's going to have a different answer for that who operates a tool truck. I don't have an overall policy for that. It's a per customer policy, depending on whether or not they're able to make their payments and if they're in over their head in debt or not. Some people seem to have unlimited funds, so they can buy whatever they want from me. Other people have a $20 a week budget, and I got to keep them down to, a couple $100 at the most as far as the balance goes. So it's going to change a lot depending on what the individual customer can afford to do. And without digging into someone's personal finances, if there's a question, I will ask, what does your weekly budget allow you to pay? And I can base what their balance is on that. Or if it's a person who clearly does not have an issue paying for stuff, it's not even a conversation because they have shown over time that they can or will be willing to pay for and afford anything that they want. So it really depends.
I got a question for Jude as far as this question goes. So whenever you're in the shop and you have like a younger guy or newer guy and he's working in the shop, or like in the past, like you've seen, like, have you ever seen them when they get on the truck? You're like, oh man, I wish you probably wouldn't buy that much stuff because now you're going to be really hurting for money. Like you're doing the math in your head. You're like, dude, they're like $150 on just this truck alone, and they got two of the trucks that come by, and you're like, you're like tugging on their shirt, like, hey, let's stop doing that.
Fortunately for me, one of the kids that I saw that happening to was my godson, because he was working at the shop with me when he was 21, 22 years old. Jumped on the Snap-on truck, and I told Roscoe, I said, hey man, this guy, he's good for it, man. You can let him build a decent account if you want. He's not going to go sideways on you, but if he ever did, I'll pay his balance, whatever. And he was like, all right, cool. So he bought a few things, and then we were getting on the Cornwall truck, and he jumps on and he buys a Streamlight flashlight. And then the Mac truck gets on there, and I'm like, dude, don't run yourself. I was able to talk to him because he was my godson. I said, dude, don't think in your head, oh, it's only $50 a week, because that $50 a week is $200 a month. And with 3 trucks, that's now $600 a month. That's more than your car payment. Come on, you got to think about what you're doing. And he's like, oh yeah, you're right. So,
well, and I think that just to kind of add on, that gets guys in real bad spots, and then they get like a real sour taste either towards the tool trucks or towards the industry in itself, because they go and they get themselves in these really bad deals, and then they owe all this money, and they're like, oh, I can make payments, and but you don't want your whole life to be based around payments. Like
$50 a week doesn't sound like much, $50 a week. It's $50 a week. But yeah, if you get all the trucks coming, man, there's a potential for 5 trucks coming a week if you get the.
But what if and this is what I tell guys is, what if you do it in reverse? Because if you have guys in the shop that are willing to loan you tools, or you have a shop that has a shop toolbox and you're allowed to work out of the shop toolbox, like, yes, it's great having your own stuff, but what if you did it in reverse? What if you saved that $50 a week, and then whenever you had enough money, you went and bought that socket set, and you did it in reverse? You didn't just, you didn't go make payments until it's paid for. I think too many guys get too comfortable with the payments because they get happy, or they get settled with a certain payment, and then but they're never going to get out of that payment structure. They're always just going to pay the balance down, add more to it, pay the balance down, add more to it. They're always stuck in that instead of going the opposite direction where you pay for it up front and then you save up your money for your next tool purchase. And I also think you make maybe a little bit more informed tool purchases whenever you do it that way, because you're like, okay, well, I'm going to pay it all up front. I want to make sure my money's going to the right place.
And you could also save a little bit of money that way too, because I've learned, I'm not sure if Lindsay does it, but I've learned most dealers, if you show them $100 bills, the price will go down just a bit, a cash price. Do you have cash price, Lindsay?
Yeah.
Yes, cash price.
Cash price, yeah. I definitely, cash price brings that payment down a little bit, so you're saving money that way too.
Yes, no doubt about it. There's ways to do it. If you have to finance it, it's good if you can manage your own personal finances to the point where you're not getting in over your head. Because, like Cass said, it's entirely too easy, or like Jude said, entirely too easy to have that $50 a week times however many tool trucks. Next thing you know, that's a lot of money. And if you're going to do that, at least make sure you're buying the right tools and taking your lead from the senior guys in the shop as to what it is you should be buying now, and what you can afford to wait on is a really important conversation to have. Too many guys don't have that, and they wind up buying things that they don't need, or they overspend, or they're not savvy enough because they get stars in their eyes when they're on the tool trucks and they see all the chrome and they see the brand names that they like and have heard great things about. But there's a lot to learn as a consumer in this business, and it's going to help you make better decisions.
And it also helps when you've got a dealer like Lindsay, because you can ask him, hey, I need an impact socket set, 3/8 drive. What do you recommend right now? And he's taken time, he's an independent truck. He can sell you any 3/8 impact socket drive set that he wants. But he'll tell you what his customers have had success with, what they've liked, what they haven't liked. And he'll tell you right now, the gray pneumatics are a great socket set. They're on promo right now, so it's probably the best time to get them. Or you can say the Sunex is, last month or a couple months ago, it was, well, I guess you guys go in quarters. Last quarter, it would have been gray pneumatic, but Sunex is equal to gray pneumatic, and they're what's on sale this month. So I'd recommend that, rather than someone just trying to sell you the most expensive tool.
Yeah, and Mark said it too when he was on earlier, that the greatest part about being an independent tool guy is I'm not bound to a brand. So we'll shop it around, and that's probably the best way I can think of to do business, because when you're shopping for something yourself, let's say it's not a tool, you're shopping for anything. You shop around for different brands. You go to different places who can sell it, and you're going to settle on something that you want after you do some research and some comparison or whatever process you go through. Tool shopping should be the same way, but unfortunately, too many times it's not, because you got that franchise brand, and all they can offer you is their own brand. They can't say, all right, well, we'll go with the Sunex on this one. Except companies like Cornwell can do it more and more now, because Cornwell is more like an independent tool company than a franchise, even though they're a franchise model. But they have very few of their own branded stuff, and Matco's the same way now too.
I've seen a lot of Capri, Vim tools on Gabe's truck.
Yeah.
Sells a lot of that stuff. Boom, 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 boom.
Well, Tarek's in. We're all scumbags, but thank you for the $10 super chat. I'll take the insult.
That's a compliment compared to what I get called most of the time.
Coming from him. Well, I feel I've graduated a scumbag now, have I?
Oh, also on the Baco comment, Pat commented that Baco is owned by Snap-on, and it's considered a Snap-on industrial brand.
All right, Lindsay, you're gonna have to go up to Dancing Alone with Rentals. He's a tool guy joke. I'll just tell it because it's pretty far back in the comment. It goes, okay, two mechanics walk into a pry bar.
Oh, gee. That's good. Oh, that's good.
Dancing Alone with Rentals is a funny dude. Funny.
That's a good one.
He comes up with these great comments, and I was talking to him one day, and he tells me, yeah, dude, that's why my channel sucks, because I put too much time in everyone else's comments, and I should put that effort into my channel. But he's a really funny dude.
Yeah.
I like him a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
We can probably work a trainee joke in there too somehow.
Yeah.
Pat Paulson had a comment earlier saying that he always drives with the scan tool hooked up to monitor his car's performance. Very interesting. Pritchard Automotive 101.
That's all right. It's good to know I'm not the only one. Every part of my daily routine is to hook up a code reader in my truck, because I have a bizarre recurring problem that is I think it'll be too long and difficult to diagnose. And honestly, I don't want to spend the time and the money on that. I have a problem when it's hot, and when it's hot and there's a high demand on the fuel in my Duramax 6.6, then I get a low fuel pressure code that gets thrown, and the truck goes into limp mode. Instead of trying to solve that problem, I just reset the code on the fly and keep going.
Everybody knows that's the best thing to do. See, with my
Faster,
cars,
easier.
I'm on the don't ask, don't tell policy. So what my cars know, I don't want to.
That's the second hot concern you told me about on your truck. You know, you told me how the AC acts up sometimes when it's hot, and
now it's okay.
You're at a stop.
The connector to the compressor burned up, so it was intermittent.
Oh,
That got
okay.
replaced, yeah.
So what year is that truck again?
07.
7. I think that one's a LLY in that truck, isn't it? Or is it the other truck?
One's an LMM.
Oh, is that the same? Is that the same one I put the driver module in?
No.
Oh, that's the other
was
truck. I think it's LLY. I could be wrong on that. There's a little pressure relief valve. There's a way to test it. I could probably look at it and see.
Okay. Yeah, sure, if you want.
So
Next time to think of it.
Yep. Well, you're gonna have to come to me though. You do realize
Yes,
that, right?
I will do it. Yep.
And I already have you like penciled in for like an AC on another vehicle.
God, I gotta get that. I know. Some of the list of things I got to get done, I never seem to get to. Joe Shearer joined us. Good to see you, Joe. And he says he's a heating and air conditioning guy. And people in this industry just tell people you need a new system when they don't know what's wrong.
Blanket repair.
Yep.
We can't be wrong when we throw all of the parts at it.
Right? Cass, I got to issue a black card for my for truck credit.
Shoot.
Yeah, there's only a couple of customers I would issue one to, and Cass would be one of them.
Yeah, I know the other one too. You need to get him on live just to see how awkward it'd be. I mean, like, 'cause, you know, like he's already pretty shy online, so
I know.
Or on videos, because you know he's always like, "I want to do a YouTube channel. I want to do a YouTube channel." I'm like, "Man, I put you in front of the camera and you freeze like a deer in the headlights."
Just got to do it. You know, you'll find a style.
Well, if he was just himself, like if he'd just be himself, I think he'd be fine. I think he'd do great.
Yeah, I agree. Quick Wrench is on now. Boy, this is good.
What's up, Quick Wrench?
And he still buys from his dealers because they're great guys. Good. You know, it pains me as being in this industry to know that there's so many bad tool guys in this world. I think that customers deserve better than that. You know, because there are some, like we talked about it the other night, Jude, on your stream about you know, the ways guys can get taken advantage of from tool guys, and you know, Cass has had his share of problems, and I'm sure everybody who's ever bought a foot tool truck has had at least a problem or two, you know, with a tool guy, and it's a shame.
I had when I was green, wet behind the ears, I was on a Snap-on truck looking at a classic, what are they, 78 toolbox, and I was just looking at it. And the next week that he showed up, he's like, "Hey, I got your box." I'm like, "Wow, I didn't order a box." Like, "Yeah, you did." He said, "You ordered it last week. So I got your box." And I was like, "Dude, I never ordered your box. A box." And then he's telling me that he could probably cancel the order, but it was going to cost like $200, so that way I get my credit. I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And I don't know why, but I gave him the $200.
Yeah, today, and I don't know.
We never
what,
talked
what
about that box again.
Or...
That was probably in late 90s or early 2000s. Then in the probably 2010, like 10, 11, 12, somewhere around there. Maybe it was like 2007. But I'm looking at a Snap-on box.
Let me do.
My name comes up that I have a debt for a box that I never paid on. He apparently kept the box, told me he delivered it, said I disappeared. And I had never seen that box. So my Snap-on dealer at the time,
I don't need to be
he
that late.
had the contract
Let's do like 2:30. And then if I
faxed, I guess, and they printed me out a copy, and I looked at the signature. And fortunately for me, my signature is very unique.
Shelly?
And I showed him a copy. I sent him a copy of my license. I blocked out the stuff I needed to block out. and Snap-on sent me a letter
I
back
need
saying,
to
all right,
fill it,
we're going to
fill it.
declare this false or whatever. We're going to clear it off your record. And they did.
SMS.
But that did try to burn me pretty good. And I guess it kind of did, you know, if I didn't even know. And in the time in between, you know, that 10 years or whatever it was,
69.
I guess my Grand Marquis ran forever. You know, I had a 94 Grand Marquis key that I ran until like
Thank you so much.
2014. So I didn't try to buy a car. I didn't try to buy a house. I didn't try to buy a box. So I was never buying anything big that made it come up. You know, whatever credit I had, I just had. So I didn't know until I tried to buy that box. And then I got mad and didn't buy the box because I took it out on Snap-on.
Wow. Yeah, I know a guy who he moved to Texas from California, and he ran up a big Snap-on bill there on Snap-on credit, and he bought a toolbox and thousands of dollars of other things, and he was having trouble making his payments. So he said to me, he says, can you suggest what to do? I said, first of all, call Snap-on credit and see if you can work out, maybe revise your payment plan. I said, I don't know what their criteria is for changing anything. I said, but hey, it's worth a phone call. You know, call him and find out. He goes, okay. So he called them, and they went down the list of stuff he purchased, and you know, they said, okay, we see you. He said, I got my toolbox, I got these other things, and they said, well, what about your other toolbox? And he said, what other toolbox? He says, we have 2 toolboxes on credit for you. He only bought one, and I guess when the guy found out he was moving, just slapped another box on his account, and he had been paying for it without knowing it until he made that call because he was wondering why his bill was so big. Because he was one of these guys that he doesn't pay a whole lot of attention to his bill. He doesn't pay a lot of attention to his payments. He just kind of keeps making his payments all the time. And you know, when you do that and you don't bother to look at what's on your tab, it can burn you if you're not careful. And you know, I think he got that worked out with Snap-on, but still, I mean, he was in a really tight spot. Not just because of that, but that was certainly a contributing factor.
That right there is like scumbag 101.
Yeah.
Don't like selling somebody a toolbox because they're leaving. Like I'd make a special trip back to town and be like, hey, where's my other box at? You know, like
oof. Yeah, when he told me that, I was shocked.
Me and the old 1/2-inch torque wrench and you are gonna have a little, you know, agreement come about.
Conversation.
You know, like, yeah, stick your hands out.
I'm gonna go Dominic. What's his name? Loretto.
Yeah.
You
You know, like on Casino where he's like, which hand do you shuffle the checks with? You know.
Can you do it with your other hand?
Yeah. No. Yeah, that's what we would have done right there.
Well, Tarek says that you know, he won't get a card from me because he can't get a call back, but the restraining order against him might have something to do with it. No. If you have a restraining order, I'm not aware of it. And Quick Wrench says that his dealers sell everything. They're not brand loyal. Yeah, it is absolutely smart business. Vim, Sunex, Gray Pneumatic, Capri, Milwaukee. Those are all really good quality brands. And there's so many other quality brands that aren't sold on tool trucks. It only makes sense for the dealers to do what they can to get the good brands on there. Geez, there's a lot of business to be made. Pat says he always photographs toolbox deliveries to avoid those issues. Really good decision. Avoid the liability, especially in something like that where it's pretty easy to avoid. Hands-on mechanicals here, and he says nice restraining orders all it takes. Yeah, if you want to stay off the tool truck, just get a restraining order. Like, well, we're at the 3.5 hour mark, folks.
Go ahead.
I don't want to take your
hours. Wow, that's awesome. So is this taking the place of your Sunday video?
on this Sunday, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I moved all my other Sunday videos
A
up
week
to
back.
next week, so because I had I think 4 different ones lined up. I had some other tool haul ones, and there was something else in there. I don't remember.
I thought it was super clever to have a live tool haul on a Sunday morning.
It was more fun than I thought it would be. There's a lot of cool conversation that went on, and it was nice to get people's opinions on things. It was great that Mark got to weigh in on some stuff. It was great to see him.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch that part of it.
Yeah, it's really spotty. Unfortunately, I wish we had a better
I
connection with
turned
him.
on YouTube looking for your video, and it showed me you were live. And I was like, "Oh, he's live."
Yeah, I figured, what the heck? We'll see how it goes. It was kind of fun. I mean, it was just a good turnout, a lot of participation, great chat going on. Thanks for being on the panel, guys. I appreciate it.
Oh no, thank you for having me. You know me, I love a good live stream.
It's just odd for me because it's daylight outside.
I know, strange.
I don't know what to do.
Take advantage.
Yeah.
Well, let's. I think we should probably call it here because it's 3.5 at the 3.5 hour mark. And I think everyone should get on with their Sundays and do what you got planned or not planned, or just hang out or whatever. So thank you everybody for participating in the chat. Love the questions and the comments. Mark, if you're still listening, thank you so much for jumping on. I really appreciate that. That was fun to get your perspective and opinions on things. It's always great to see your truck and catch up with you to hear what you got going. And we can do some individual sign-offs. Hold on one second while I unscrew up myself here. Yeah, and Jude, if you want to take it solo and say goodbye.
Hey, everyone, Lindsay, thanks for having me. Cass, thanks for joining us. It was awesome. I had a great time today. I guess I joined you guys. You guys were on when I jumped on, but it was fun, man. I enjoyed it. This is really cool. I'm looking forward to seeing the live part of it. But you guys check out my channel, Power Stroke Jude. Cass and I are part of a group called Tech Stock and Shop that has a YouTube channel. This month's video series is on diagnostics, and right now Tool Demos has a really cool video on how to diagnose some AC concerns, and that's a good thing because it's hot. You guys can maybe try to figure out how to diagnose your own AC concerns, and we got more coming for the rest of the month. And that being said, Power Stroke Jude out.
Cass.
Oh, you got the picture. I was waiting for the picture.
The old Johnny Cash. Well, my thanks to everyone in the chat. Ed and Tarek, thank you so much for the super chats. I appreciate that. And everyone who participated, had great conversation, terrific input. I think that we all learned a tremendous amount. There was some really good information that went back and forth from guys who are in the know about things. So thank you so much for bringing that to the chat with you. I appreciate all of it. And we will absolutely do this again. Although the next couple of weeks videos are already scheduled, and there's some conventional tools in the hall coming up on those. So watch for those. But we will absolutely do these again, as well as some live streams with some really interesting topics that we touched on today. That'll be great to do a deep dive in, because judging from the perspectives of folks that were in the chat, I think you've got some really good information and perspectives to bring to that so that we can all learn. So thank you all very much. Have a great rest of the Sunday. And remember, use a tool. Don't be one.